Okay, you guys
I
might
gave Reg like 5 more questions just then at that moment. But
you guys might recognize that voice. And if not, we're gonna get into everything that went into last year and maybe some things that's gonna happen in 2025. First and foremost, thank you for joining us. What up, y'all? It's the Need to Know podcast. What you need to know, when you need to know on the Need to Know podcast. We'll get to intros and everything like that.
For sure.
But today we got a Who You Need to Know, right?
I mean, he's all over the blogs.
Can't miss it.
He's everywhere, so I don't even know.
I mean, if you guys recognize that laugh, there's no introduction needed once you heard that
okay,
laugh.
when are you dropping this? Like tomorrow?
This is whenever you want it to come out.
Happy New Year, by the way. So
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New
Happy
Need
New
to know
Year.
pod. My
Thank you.
people, SaVon,
For
Reg,
sure.
Alex.
yes.
He's in the building.
But he
Everybody,
deserves
yeah.
a proper intro, and then we'll get to the shits. So
Okay.
today we have a true legend in the hip hop world opening up the 2025 portal with us. Elliott Wilson, he's the founder and CEO of Rap Radar, former editor-in-chief of XXL. In the magazine world, he's a legend. He's stamped forever. Currently the editorial director at Uprocks. He's been shaping the culture for decades, and today we'll dive into his journey, his thoughts on hip-hop today, so much more. We have a lot to address. Off camera, I'm sorry to say, but he said he feels a little misunderstood, so we're going to get to that.
That's why I want to go to this respected platform.
Thank you. And we have West Coast Wilson,
Yes.
a nickname that we will talk about. Welcome back to the show. Clap, clap, clap.
Let's
clap.
clap it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for
Yes, I
joining
feel
us.
special. 2-time
Yeah.
guest.
Yes,
exclusive now.
sir.
I feel
2-time guest.
special.
And it's also
Yeah.
our season, Capricorn season.
Oh my
And
goodness
building
gracious.
birthday
January
twin.
14, boys.
Oh, yeah, y'all share the same birthday.
You know, Elliot.
Facts.
Well, that's actually crazy.
Not
Like,
just us.
Okay.
LL Cool J.
You know
Name
it.
it.
Slick Rick.
You know
the
it.
same day or just Capricorn?
Same day.
day.
Same
Who
day.
else?
Same day.
Name
14.
it.
That's enough.
Oh, yeah, I ain't gonna front. That's
That's
big.
kinda
Yeah.
That's hip hop greatness.
Yeah,
right there.
no bullshit.
Ellie, I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes you do make it tough to be twins.
Why?
I'm not gonna lie.
Treacherous behavior.
Treacherous twins.
And he knows it.
But because of that, I feel like you say you feel misunderstood. I feel like I kind of understand exactly what the energy is that the competitiveness. And I think the
Yeah.
competitive nature is where
But
people
I don't
misunderstand
land
you.
it properly, and I keep doing it the same. I keep making the same mistake
For sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
See
I
what
like
I'm
the
saying?
self-awareness.
And
Like,
that's
I love it.
because I'm used to. I think when I really think about it, it was first rooted in the idea of like back then in the day with media, there wasn't as many outlets. Things were very simple. It's like Hot 97 is trying to Power 105 is trying to kill Hot 97. XSL is trying to kill the source. We're fighting for the same thing, so it's very simple, and it could be brutal, it could be nasty, it could be your show is not that good, or this isn't that. But in this era, it just feels like everybody, it's the old standard of everybody runs their own race. And you're trying to build your brand, and you're not like you're sitting all day worrying about what needs to know who's the one that's against us. Like it's the podcast in your space or similar to what you're doing. You're trying to build your thing as big as it can be. And win your own race.
For sure.
And of course, you're competitive. You want your shit to stand out in the market, but it's not based on like, look to homie to the left, homie to the right, and critique that. And I end up kind of always surfing back into that because that's by nature me.
Yeah.
But what I'm really saying is that I just feel like I'm a journalist, just like Reg, and I feel like we become like more of a rare breed because the game has shifted. And we got the streamers taking over a lot of stuff, and then I feel celebrity culture-led media has gotten even more bigger than we ever seen in our lifetime.
No one imagined this.
No one imagined this. And,
No one
and the
imagined
artists I never imagined being media have become media personalities. And a lot of them put the work ethic in and the sweat equity and episode 700 and whatever. Like, that's why everybody deserves what they get when they get it. So, but if somebody is a pioneer of that, sometimes I could get into my OG bag and just look at it with not the most fondness, but that's not the way to receive it. The way to receive it is if I want to contribute to this, I got to be more consistent with my content. I think what happened to me was that after the pandemic, a lot of my brands slowed down. Like Rap Radar took a while to get back on the ground.
We gonna get there. We gonna get there.
Crying-
We
I'll
gonna
give
get
you
there.
that.
No,
I'll
for
let
sure.
you
We have notes. We have notes.
definitely gonna get
Crying-
there.
Don't
Contest
apologize
is
just yet.
But I guess one final thing, because everybody's ready for the apology. I
don't
like the
worry.
apology king.
We gonna get there.
Just to crash out at the apology king. That's me.
Perfect balance.
For sure. But before we get to all of the platforms that you mentioned, because when you say Rap Radar, and obviously you, Regi, being a respected journalist, especially you being one of those pioneers, I do want to get to Rap Radar at some point because the void that you feel, and this is just my opinion, the void that you feel that's in media is exactly what Rap Radar is. We just haven't seen it, right? So the void that I feel like you're looking for is the void that you left in the game when it comes to traditional media.
But I
space.
I didn't shut that down. We had a situation, and then I could take whatever you do. I don't like to talk about business when business doesn't work out,
for sure.
But I will say, and I can also say maybe my representation also didn't handle the due diligence enough to make a deal happen. So it's disappointing. A deal did not happen. But I feel like you could give Rap Radar all this critical acclaim, but because again, the other point I want to hit is we're so metrics, numbers obsessed, telling the story, right? So it's like so much of what I even did on Tidal, you don't get those metrics because it's behind a paywall. And whatever smaller subscriber base we have, you don't know what that consumption looks like because it's not on YouTube. And when we put it on YouTube, it would be like a month later or 2 months later because they weren't trying to, if you look even to this day with Rock Nation, they don't put stuff on YouTube in a real kind of thing. So I think that got caught up where Rap Radar is successful because of what it should be, which is the quality of the impactful interviews we did, historic interviews, the Drakes, the Jay-Z's, the Will Smiths, but Nipsey Hussle and everybody. But you can't attach a value of, we know every Rap Radar podcast is going to get 200,000 views and these type of things. And I think that's what I don't like either. It's like, I don't want it to be all about just numbers. And the irony is that it's about just numbers in an era where we don't really believe the numbers.
It could be fabricated,
we still don't know what the streaming numbers really mean and what the value of a song is.
Right.
If it's a quality piece, does it have to have 100-something views on YouTube? Like, I don't know every single episode you guys do, how many views you got on YouTube, but I don't define why I like that episode, I enjoyed it or not based off that. And I feel like business has become that because everybody's like, 800,000 people are watching me live right now.
We're competing.
But is it really 800,000 people? We don't know.
But that's why I feel like when you have directed your anger in the past to like these quote unquote, because it's 2025 is a new year. Yeah. But like when you have directed your anger towards like your dissatisfactions with this media game. Yeah. But when you focus on quote unquote competitors like a Kai Cenat or like a Is It Is What It Is, but you're even saying right now it's not even the same thing, and then their numbers may look different than yours, but you're getting mad at them for that. So I don't know if it's like misdirected anger or.
Well, the funny thing, the irony in my trajectory is when I ran magazines, I was obsessed with numbers. I had printouts of what every Vibe magazine sold. Like that's Busta Rhymes cover didn't sell this, and everything the Source sold, and I did strategic covers that would sell. I had to sell a magazine. And then I would be like competitive with something like a Complex where they had the freedom to do clips on the cover, right? But I don't know if the clips were established yet at that time that I could sell the magazine with the clips. So they could do what I call cool covers. Like you could put Pharrell and Gwen Stefani on the cover, but I'm going to do 50 Cent for the 5th time because every time I do 50 Cent, it sells. Right. And I had to sell magazines. That was what my measure was. And I had bonus structured. If it sold this, I got that. So my decisions were made that way. So when I shifted to Rap Radar, again, because even back then, I didn't believe in what was our metrics back then, Alexa, whatever. I didn't believe in any of that stuff as legit. So I was just like, we're just going to outwork everybody. Rap Radar, me, B-Dot, put these posts up. Be competitive, and that's it, but not judged by numbers per se. Yeah. So everything I've done since, I haven't worked with the metrics of my numbers validate me. Now, do I say the numbers matter? They matter. But I don't think they want them to tell my whole story. For sure. It's the quality of what I'm creating, which makes it different and unique, like you said. And the marketplace is missing that.
And it's weird because, like you said, going into just the numbers and everything, we use that as a gauge, and streaming now is here. And I don't think anybody prepared for streaming in the same way the radio didn't prepare for podcasting. Now we're all competing with not just TikTok and podcasts and YouTube and Gen Z, and now they got fucking Beta. Is it the Beta?
But how do you guys receive what success looks like for you guys? Like, do you allow yourself to get caught up in this YouTube video didn't do this amount of views? Like, especially SaVon, I'm sure you drive yourself crazy with numbers stuff like that. So like, how do you deal with that, you guys, when you're building something?
You ask because I feel like we're all different. He is the numbers guy. He's sitting up at night at 2 a.m. analyzing our numbers, seeing like, guys, you see this upward trend of 100 views. Like, and he'll send us, he'll send us screenshots. He'll send us percentages. Boom, that's his thing, and he loves that. So when we do well, numbers-wise, he's happy. And I feel like for me, I love hearing like real people like respond to our DMs and be like, real people. When I was going through a tough time, Reg, I heard listening to this episode. I like that type of stuff. And I feel like we're doing a good job if we have hella messages like that.
And your profile keeps rising. People recognize y'all.
Yeah. For me, it's more like understanding your growth. Yeah. Right? Like we didn't come into the game as a Joe Budden. We didn't come into the game as notable figures. Yeah. So I always try to gauge it like, all right, cool. Did we do better last month? Yeah. Did we do better last year? What are the things that we can do to go forward? And the three of us do a good job of bringing that all together. Now, I wanted to say this about competitiveness, right? Because competitiveness is dope.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a
we saw that Drake and Kendrick Lamar was competitiveness.
There you go. We got to see some high level stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So competitiveness is dope in the sense of it can push you to be more innovative. It can push you to think outside of the box.
Yeah.
That shit is amazing. I guess the one question I wanted to ask to you is, what are you going to have to do? What are you going to have to eclipse to make you feel as if you don't have to compete anymore? Because the rest of us, I know you hear this all the time.
Yeah.
We already look at you like you well off. Like you him already. Is there a particular interview? Is there something that you have to do? Maybe you turn a certain age and you go, you know what, I'm not competitive anymore.
Or is this forever? Nigga done interviewed everybody that
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Actually, though, because for me, the one was like, oh, that's the interview. You can be done now is Will Smith, and he's done it twice. So like,
he did Drake at his home.
Did it live once.
Yeah, I was there. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. What I realized, Alex, this is a great question.
Yeah.
I have to practice patience. What I like to do is reinvent myself. And I had to realize I am reinventing myself. I literally moved to the West Coast.
Yeah.
I call myself West Coast Wilson. I don't live here anymore.
Crazy. They about to take a Queen's call. But keep
He's been there for like 2 years and he's West Coast.
I've been there, man. To be fair, I got there before the pandemic.
That's a fact.
Okay.
I remember we were going back and forth about that.
Yeah,
we were.
I got there and I was just still doing stuff and not being, I was still title at the time, but I lived in LA. I moved the base to the situation.
Yeah.
But this past year, I did take the Up Rocks Hip Hop DX job. I took that in April.
Congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
And like, it's hard to even get that sort of traditional journalism job, editorial director within a media system, as we know, because the game had changed. Had an amazing partner, Jared Meyer. He's the guy who created Raucous Records. So we have history from the 90s, giving me that opportunity. I'm thankful for that. So I knew when I got there was a young talent, Jeremy Heck, white dude, doing a lot of great content. And I was like, okay, I want to definitely work with him and take him under my wing. And like, because, the perception is you ain't putting, what have you done enough to help the newer generation? And it's just like, I knew I wanted to work with dude and I knew the sound he had. So already I'm like, okay, we should create some sort of platform. Like, I always want to create something new because I feel like if I'm the older one, I want to build a new brand. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let's build a new brand.
Could that hurt you in today's climate of media, though? Always trying to recreate.
Yeah, it's more challenging. I'm making it more challenging for myself. That's why I have to practice patience because I'm doing a new. We haven't had a hip hop debate show since Everyday Struggle. It's going to take a lot of backing to come on multiple times a week. We only do it weekly now, so really it's a weekly week. Like we can rock all day MTV News type thing. Because it's not. I want to do a 4 or 5 day schedule, but that costs, as you guys know.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah, doing it with Jeremy and then seeing what DJ had, who's somebody I knew through the years, always wanted me to go on his platform for interviews. I always was dodging him and ghosting him and not doing it, but still respected him as a DJ. Seeing his voice with the whole DJ Drake Kendrick Lamar battle. So I'm like, yo, let's shoot a demo of us debating shit. And right out the gate, we just had this great chemistry, just like you guys. When you know.
Facts.
And so the bigger picture is, we've done 30 episodes. We probably average 40, 50K per episode. We've had some to crack the 100, and I think it's a promising start. So I have that. Now, what I'm here to promote is Elliott Wilson Experience.
Let's do it.
I have an interview series that's Rock Nation's powering. We're doing a second season, and it launches January 7th. Snoop Dogg's the first one. I got Absol, I got Wale, I got Leon Thomas. And that's the start of it.
Amazing artists.
Great acts.
The last time you came on the pod, you also was telling us about the Elliott Wilson Experience. That was strictly on Patreon.
Right.
Yes. I've had 2 soft launches of it. I've done it. I tried to do it on Patreon. I thought everybody gonna give me their money. They didn't give me their money.
That's just a rude awakening, ain't it?
I was curious.
It's good. So I had to just chalk it up to that. That's also perception, right?
Yeah.
Does Elliott immediately need my $5, $10, $15, $20? If you view this somebody who's successful, view this somebody who's interviewed all the icons, and even at that time was good with Jay-Z and Drake at the time.
Yes.
You really supporting that. So did that. Growing pains of doing the first 10 episodes because it's not a proven concept. The caliber of guests I could book is, got to build. Doing more behind the scenes people like Ian or Gay P, and that's not going to do the big numbers, right?
Yeah.
So stop and go with that. Had some little audio issues, getting stuff right, getting the right producers, the thing. Yeah. So this is, to me, the now third incarnation, third time's the charm of showing what it is. And it's also not just me sitting with Snoop Dogg for the whole interview segment. It's us walking around this compound. It's a candid conversation. You might run into Who Kid. It's like the experience. Like, what it is to me, like, it's hanging out with me. It's talking to me. It's the candidness of what my relationships bring to the table and showcasing that. So I have a debate show, bigger picture. I have a hip hop interview show. My first solo one with my name, branding my name, Elliott Wilson Experience. And it's going to take time for me to build these things to have the level of success that's going to satisfy me. Yeah. But I can't be frustrated that it didn't come right away and then point my finger at my peers and say, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve this.
Well, I'm glad you actually mentioned that. And like how in January,
something in the news going on?
You give it
know how you get.
We're coming in hot this year.
I'm glad you actually mentioned that because
look how I set up your episode. Look how good you
said we see the opening, we're gonna go for it.
Who but you?
You made some rounds this past week.
Thank you for penciling us in, by the way. But he is on his own press tour.
These are the only two I'm doing. I did.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, and I'm doing you guys, and that's it. And this is my redemption clarity of my situation.
It's crazy how the timing worked out. So yes, we want to talk to you.
It wasn't my intent. I didn't plan it out.
Well, you went for the right one, as they normally say.
I did the worst one. I know never to bar the 50, but why did I pick the almost damn equal?
They are equal, actually.
I picked the worst one.
You decided to use Cam.
I didn't decide. That's the problem. It just kind of came out.
But you said it.
There was no preparation.
No preparation. This was just on your heart, and you had to say, "Hey, Cam, Mase, I don't fuck with what you're doing."
No,
Stephen A's like,
you said their show sucks. Like you said that. You said it's not good. You said it's not good.
You're saying what it is. You're saying there was no malice behind it, but again, your competitive nature came through.
It just blows my mind that guys I documented or I had the decisions above their career 20 years ago, and now in the space that I see is similar to my space, and maybe afforded other opportunities I may not be afforded because of this celebrity. But then to take it back somewhat, and again, I'm not going to formally apologize because I'm going to let Cam possibly kick my back in again or whatever he's going to do. We can talk about it after, but I do respect that Cam's origin story when he said this was that he invested his own money into it, right? He put a couple $100,000 in it. He had this vision. He wanted it to look like an ESPN level production. Yeah. Build this massive set. We're going to wear the suits. We're going to do the optics. That's that. Mase saw it. He got joined that. He added some money to the thing. And then next thing you know, all these gambling companies offering the big bags. And the gambling companies come where the heat's at with celebrity or with big numbers. But so that's why I feel like I may not be looked at that way. So then there's a little bit of, tension with that viewpoint. But I think you shouldn't mock what they're doing. And then one last thing too, I have respect for Treasure Wilson.
Oh yeah.
The young lady, Stab Baby. She's a journalist, a young journalist, came out of college.
Yep.
And we had a good rapport. And I feel like I don't want to be that OG disappointing these. I know sometimes when you be critical being Reg, where it's like, my intentions may have been good, but somebody you respect like me from your field lets you down. If it seems like he's just the older person who's not comfortable with somebody else doing things or somebody else's success, measuring it by your success.
For sure.
So that was a wrong position to take.
That's a good point.
Well, I'm glad you learned that rather quickly.
Yeah, you didn't even have to tell him or anything.
And not for nothing, some people are just good at a lot of sports. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I remember being in high school, middle school, and was like, damn, I'm all right in basketball, but this dude right here is good at football, baseball, track, and it speaks to, like,
I was more of a fan of Charles Barkley than Michael Jordan. I wanted Charles Barkley when he was with the Suns to beat Michael Jordan and win the championship. I was a big Charles Barkley fan. I felt everybody was Jordan fan. I mean, I respected Jordan. He was a killer. Yeah. And, just like Kobe, and I felt like I became more fans of them as they got older because I respected how they were still so dominant in what they did. So I'm a Charles Barkley fan. I think Charles Barkley's now underrated is how great a player he was. Right. Because now Charles Barkley's ever going to be what happened after basketball, which he became a massive media personality. Boom. And that defines his legacy.
Full circle.
But the second part is a basketball career.
For sure.
It's inside the NBA, it's that. So, and again, I know that players or retired players with retired rappers or whatever, like they have a chance to then do these things just like the athletes. Tom Brady retires, he immediately is going to be offered a broadcasting job at a major situation. So that's no different than what Joe did or Nori did or what Gilly did or what Cam eventually did. Maybe because Cam did it later and Cam was talked about he wasn't going to do it back then, but then found a way to do it. You can step back and say, okay, that's different. But
And they're not like Cam and Mase, they're not half-assing it either, where they're just looking for a check. As you pointed out, they're in the suits and they're in the set. So it's like, that's why I respect their show. They're not just doing it for a quick buck, but they really had this dream and like they went for it.
Yeah, and Treasure said that how much Cam prepares for things, and 95% prepares for things, and it's taking it seriously, and the work ethic it does take. That's what we see with Joe Budden's success was. Like, if you have the work ethic and you're putting the thing in, that can't hate that. Hating on that just looks silly and dumb. But again, I think that, I have my moments of frustration, and I think that I keep going down that same path. So I guess starting with you guys, I think I want to try. Maybe you should text me immediately next time I do it. But I want to try to stop getting myself in these situations. I have a place to be critical now of artists and their moves, just like you guys. But I don't want to critique my peers or things like that, or pocket watch, or get so caught up in the numbers and things like that, and act like if a gambling company doesn't cut me a big bag, then my content's not worthy, and get caught up in that type of stuff. But it's hard not to.
It's definitely tricky. But one of the missing components, because I heard how you said Cam and Mase, they invested a lot of money into it. They had a vision, they put it together. The X factor in all of these things is also the talent that they have, right? Like, there's not many
funny guys. There's not many.
You put them on the same level as a 50 Cent when it came to just personality and cutting ass and cracking jokes and just being a trendsetter. Like, he's a trailblazer in hip hop, right?
Can't teach funny.
For that to
Cam's
translate,
the ultimate hustler
he's always been that guy.
It is what it is. It is really dope. Like, so I was really confused when you said Stephen A. Smith.
No, I said
he walking around like he's
as
Stephen
a sports insider, right? Of sorts.
Or like he thinks he's this major sports journalist.
Again, to me, it's almost like, again, I think Stephen A. Smith has become a celebrity now.
Yes.
But Stephen A. Smith is just like me and Reg. He's a journalist. He worked for newspapers. He did behind the scenes. Nobody knew what it looked like for many years. He had to become that. Skip Bayless helped pull him out of that. So again, there's just a whole different always battle of like the traditional journalists. I don't want journalists to feel like they have to become famous to make a good living. And right now there's such an imbalance in the marketplace.
That's deep.
That the celebrity is going to get those advantages. So I'm saying he's walking around like he's this person because he has now a jump start to be in the area where he has that. And to Stephen A's credit, that was the whole debate in sports with new media, right? All these athletes, Draymond Green, blah, blah. And Stephen A, to his credit, smartly, unlike Elliott, embraces this and goes in their platforms and treats them like they deserve that because they're in the space, and you got to be comfortable where you're at with your space, that you're not looking at that as a threat,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. Also, just remembering, everybody's a fan of you, yo.
Yeah,
I know it's hard to see
I think everybody respects me, but except when I wild out, do something, and then I lose.
That's
their
what
respect.
I'm saying.
And that's why I don't want to lose that respect, because then being older, you seem like, I think Mase said the thing, you seem like the old bitter guy that don't get no play in the park.
For sure.
Yeah, nobody gonna call my number. It's like, I don't want to be that guy.
And then there's also like a digital footprint when we seen you with Cam. Like, I saw you interview Cam on Rap Radar.
Yeah, we did a great interview
and that
with
was
Cam.
one of my favorite interviews. I remember when that dropped. Cam wasn't as vocal at that point.
That was a turning point.
We didn't really see Cam that much at that point when he interviewed.
I think we always never had the best rapport either, to be frank. I think that people view me, he's had his differences obviously with Jay-Z. People view me as somebody cool with Jay-Z. I think they had their moment when he came back on the B-Sides 2 show, and that was cool. But then he even said after that he didn't really like the interaction with Jay after that. So I think there's always kind of been not a great rapport with me and him individually. Dipset, Diplomats, I didn't believe at the time, and I was grossly wrong, that they was as nationally successful as they were building. Like, I thought they were just New York successful. And with New York rappers, sometimes I would do split covers. I would say, okay, Jadakiss, I love you, but I can't sell Jadakiss cover in all 50 states at this time when Knock Yourselves Out. So I would do Nelly and do Jadakiss. And I would do Jadakiss in these 10 markets all down the East Coast. And I would do Nelly in the Midwest and all the West Coast. And it'd be hugely successc's I'd split Fat Joe and T.I. I split Beanie Siegel and Lil Wayne.
Damn.
I didn't believe in Lil Wayne. I thought Juvenile was gonna be the guy. So Wayne's gonna be the guy. Like, we didn't believe in Kanye. It's like, so you make those mistakes. So I kept sleeping on Dipset, and then they would do source covers and things like that. And then when it became undeniable is when Jim had his success with Ballin'. So Jim got We Ballin'. Let's do the Dipset cover. Then come to find out, as 50 Cent exposed, at that time Cam and Jim weren't good.
Yeah.
So then it's like, if you're Cam, it's like, you're gonna give me this look now, but it's like, it's not so. It never was the best rapport in general, but that the outside layer of that was, to do that Rap Radar one, it was a key thing for him, because he wasn't super media friendly back then, didn't embrace the podcast space like that. and it was a great interview. So there's respect there. But you know, I definitely, and again, it was unprompted. I went at them. It was unprompted.
Yeah.
So it was just wrong.
Yeah. I'm glad you could see that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of just anger and digital footprint, all this. We have to just put a little bookend to our listeners.
Okay.
Elliott Wilson, you were very mad at me last year for something that I said.
What'd you say?
There was a little 16-second clip
I
of
clapped
me.
at you?
No, it was okay. So we
I
were.
sent you a stank text.
Ooh, this was actually.
What'd I do?
This is actually
You
very.
DM
Hold on. Let me explain.
Yeah, Reggie, get it.
So this is
What I
actually
did.
a beautiful serendipitous moment because it was our wrap up episode last year. We were reflecting on 2023.
Yeah.
There's a 10-second clip of me that someone showed you where I said, you know, he's my GOAT. I respect him so much, but I kind of feel like in 2023, I personally feel like Elliott Wilson didn't have.
You said I was a loser of the year.
I did not say
that. Now I remember that.
Hold on. So I said I feel like he didn't have the most positive year because when you think of Elliott Wilson 2023, all we could think about is all the times you shot at people on the beefs and the Twitter. That's what I said in the clip.
Got you.
But my big mistake was we made a wild thumbnail of who had the worst year, and it had like Diddy, you on it, and that was wild.
Well, I think I blacked that part out.
That's why you were mad at us. You tweeted it.
That part out, yeah.
And
that must have really pissed me off. I don't remember that part.
I just want to apologize because that was wild of us. One of us should have caught that and said no.
Yeah.
That part was bad.
Gotcha.
But what I said, I hope you watch the full clip. I was never trying to like disrespect you or anything like that. And I'm not like super disappointed you in anything. But yeah, that was taken out of context and you were very mad at me. So
Yo.
I'm
Not
we're
just
good
you.
now. We're good.
Not just you.
guys.
I looked at my phone at 12 in the morning.
you were mad at us. You don't remember that?
Look,
I blocked that part out. I'm telling you.
Let me tell you
were
what you
mad
did.
at us on
Send me-
Instagram.
you saw the art?
I ain't got it. It's a long time ago. But I
Okay.
woke up. It was 12 in the morning. 3 Miss Elliott Wilson DMs. I opened them up. And
You
mind you,
posted us on your page.
I mean, I'm that type of guy. When you on January 14th, what you want me to do?
trust me, I know. Now the important part about you hitting me
But
at
I
12
don't remember.
was,
I only remember your original criticism.
Now you shot at all of us.
the criticism was basically us just naming.
Then I DM'd you
who we
too?
thought-
And you tag all
I'm
of
trying to
us
tell
and put
you.
us on your page.
Now you DM me and was like, so
Show
yo,
this
now
guy.
I can't send messages to you. And I
Yes!
not realizing that Instagram makes you go D&D past 12 a.m.
He was just on Do Not Disturb.
I was on D&D. I'm like,
I'm on West Coast time. Crazy ass West Coast Wilson.
Right.
You know,
But I
man.
also wanted to show you something. I was going
That's
through.
amazing.
I was going through my storage the other day, and look what I found. This is a ticket of
The Khaled one at the Apollo. Wow.
he had Elliott Wilson has a live interview series called Crown. At the Apollo Theater. He was interviewing DJ Khaled,
That was
and the
crazy
next
day.
one is Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
So you only went to the Apollo Theater one?
No,
You was like,
I even have
That's dope.
the Young Thug crown.
Yeah,
I want to
come
show
on.
him that like
shout Thug.
you've always been that guy. You've always had the most amazing interviews, and when I watch them live, like it's a masterclass on how
Thank
to
you, Reg.
put on interviews. So
Thank you.
that respect is there. Like you don't have to be like I'm better than this show. You know, like we already respect you in the culture. So I just wanted to end my apology with that.
I been forgave you. I'm glad we can count it though.
Thank God.
Because I forget about the other stuff. I blocked that part out.
A lot goes on
I
throughout
don't remember
the year.
that part.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
saying it didn't happen. It definitely happened. But
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, we
What
were
we
a
think?
bit confused. I understood, and then as the events unfolded,
Now I remember being stank to you. I
yes.
remember that. Okay, yeah.
It's like, hey man, but again,
Because I also had just did the show, I think. Not
Yeah,
too
it
far
was
recent.
right.
So I felt a little chip on the
Yeah,
shoulder
it
too.
was,
Like
the
I just
thumbnail was wild.
Yeah,
It was wild.
yeah.
I get it. A picture next to you and Diddy. I mean, you was like, whoa.
I think I definitely gave SaVon the business more because I couldn't get you. So then he ended up getting sick. So.
yeah, he took it over here, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that on the chin.
Like my brother from the same
I
brother.
get it.
Same day, E. Come on.
I get it.
I was like, I thought I liked this
But
kid.
look at us now. Yeah, you're definitely dating like my fellow Capricorn. You're gonna do it like this.
Oh man! Before we get back into the music again, coming out of the year, I think this was probably definitely one of the biggest years for hip hop.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Congrats to you guys. I heard the episode with Nala, the marathon episode. It was amazing.
Thank you.
I think you didn't miss a damn thing of the year.
Appreciate it.
I said, before we got a camera, Uncle Murder got exhausted, I felt at the end by recap of the year, but you guys took on the impossible task
of recapping 2024.
Yeah,
and Elliott Wilson
did it quite well.
actually listens to us, guys. He tweeted his his year
My top
recap.
5.
Yeah.
And we're in his rap.
Look at that metrics and data. Look at right.
See,
That's the kind of shit they be talking about.
Yeah, working to our benefit.
Everybody personally that need to know in the goddamn top 5.
You're damn right.
What's your address? We'll send you some flowers.
So thank you for your support.
You tell 10 friends.
He actually listens to us. We were in his top 5.
Facts, thank you.
Wait, can we just circle back to that? Because I don't think I got back to you. Like you setting up that. Yeah, because I want to know how people outside of me consume numbers and consumption. You being the numbers guy, how much weight do you put in that? How much do you drive yourself crazy about numbers and when you get into your bag? Because obviously that's the role you play in this dynamic to be more into that or focused on that.
Yeah.
How do you receive all that stuff?
I think, like Alex said, you always compare to what you did last year or last month or whatever the case may be. But I think we're in this really unique space, our podcast in particular, because we aren't the Joe Buddens, the Charlamagne, like we don't come from that, right? So we're literally building this in real time.
Yeah.
And recently, and shout out to everybody on YouTube too, we got this crazy spike on YouTube of like 20,000 followers, subscribers
in like
over
2 weeks, like 3 weeks.
Oh,
like
crazy.
we was
probably because of the Drake Kendrick coverage and even the way the end of the year coverage and where you really tackle all the topics
for sure. So stuff like that.
That's huge though. That's huge.
Thank you, you. And thank y'all for joining us over here on the Need to Know podcast. But I think kind of just to answer your question, just making sure we're always going up, and it's the consistency. Yeah, like that's the name of this game. But you're judging yourself against yourself again. So it's run your own race. I can't look. You can't go look at. You're not pulling up everybody else's data and saying, okay, if Budden and them are these, we're the baby bro level of podcasting space, and these are our other people in our space, and let me try to get some data on them. You're just looking at your own data and using motivation off that, and just measuring my own metrics. So like we don't like that.
It's running your own race.
We don't view ourselves as the little bros to anybody in the space. It's just like, oh no, these are where they are, and we got work to do. And as long as we're staying in the conversations, as long as like when you pulled up, you was really our biggest guest when you first came, right? Like that was a really big deal for us. So
you gave us a chance.
Acknowledged, especially that year, being acknowledged by you, and then the Joe Buddens, obviously, that's the guy, and even somebody like a Charlamagne, who we don't have a relationship with Charlamagne,
just him acknowledging y'all his platform,
so those kind of things, those are the metrics that we kind of use because who can we look at? Right? Like, who is in this position of Alex, SaVon, and Regi?
Our age group.
Our age group, our experience. Like, we have this joke on the pod. We're the 9 to 5 pod.
We have
all of us have 9 to
5s. You're interviewing me. Can I ask one more question?
Please.
So now, how do you put your pressure? How much pressure do you put on yourself about monetization in that sense, right? Because you guys still work regular jobs, pay things, and you have I know you guys established the business together first.
Facts.
And that maybe you're not going to get that gambling bag out the gate. Like how much pressure you put on yourself about monetization and trying to like get brands to recognize that you're not just dope because of the numbers of the 20K spike, but just the quality of the content you're consistently creating.
So School of Joe Budden, I learned this. You have to value yourself because they're not going to value you. So we don't negotiate with traditional CPM metrics.
No.
We say, hey, this is what
still
we
trying to do these nasty CPM metrics.
You'd be surprised.
We don't do that at all.
As recent, let me chill. As recent as
do you see our wonderful studio? Right? CPMs don't get you this type of shit at our level.
My first time in Need to Know Studios too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Things done changed.
Yeah.
So for us, the way that we kind of approach it is, hey, there's a number that we feel comfortable saying we're going to place this ad on our podcast. And we're comfortable no matter how many listens we get. If we do 1 million, if we say
you're not
this
gonna
is
feel
the
shortchanged. Yeah, you already set the value.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So just give anybody a little bit of advice out there.
No, breaking down the CPM system to not embrace that.
I don't embrace the CPM. Like Alex and I, we do not embrace the CPM system because it doesn't matter.
Did you guys ever do it?
We have. And it's much of the reason why we realized
not a long time.
to take it to where we're taking it right now. That's just not where it aligns with us.
Yeah, we're cool with whatever number it is. Right? And I think that's somebody like a Joe Budden who says, know your value, know your worth. At this time, if I say this is what I'm worth, this is what I'm worth. I don't care how many listens we do or don't, right? And we stand on that.
That's interesting.
And, and then the numbers, they either tell the story of, oh, y'all got us or we got you.
Right.
And sometimes y'all are gonna get us. But most times, you know, the game is to try and get them. So I think that's how we kind of view the numbers. And then also understanding the numbers. A lot of people in this media game, they don't understand what the numbers mean. Because Spotify and Apple, they don't speak the same language.
No.
A play and a download on Spotify does not equate to the same thing as Apple. And then your hosting site means something completely different too.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another gift. And one of our cheat codes that we have on this podcast is not only did I work with Joe for a long time and I helped on the back end with understanding his analytics, but then I shifted over to HBO, where now I'm seeing what that means too.
Absolutely.
So we kind of like we got a little cheat code over here.
I love it. I don't even consider it a cheat code. I think it's just, we worked to get into those positions. It wasn't like
it's our path.
Your hard work left to that to get the job at HBO. Right?
Exactly.
So,
for sure. Yeah. Before we dive back into music though, Elliott, I feel like we don't really know you all that well.
Okay.
Right? We know of you.
We know you're a great journalist, but that's pretty much it.
The man, the myth, the legend. So I do want to do a quick segment.
Let's do it.
And it is called What is Elliott's?
Oh my God.
Okay.
These guys are so prepared.
What
We need to know.
is Elliott's? All right.
Yeah, we got a little Google Doc, you know.
Yeah. What is Elliott's favorite comfort meal?
Sounds real ghetto. Fried chicken and French fries.
Okay.
Classic.
Okay. I never would have known that.
Yeah.
Little ketchup hot sauce.
So my dad's black, my mom is Ecuadorian and Greek.
Wow.
So I grew up more with my she can't speak Spanish or Greek. So and more of my family side was my black side of my family. And I always tell people I didn't go through any tragic mulatto shit. My dad said, "You're a little light skinned, but at 4 years old, you're black." And I had no questions about it. And I thought I was blessed to have these other ethnicities, but I was real close to my black grandmother, Lucille. We called her Nanny. And she would just be making me fried chicken and cutting up these French fries and just eating bad grease and soul food shit. So that was always like that was the measure of that. But then also outside of that, I'm from that 70s generation where McDonald's was like the thing. So that was the reward. Like if I got good grades, then we're gonna go to this McDonald's. It's funny, it's the McDonald's that's still on the same, because I know Parks was in Astoria. Like that same Steinway Street, that same McDonald's is in the same spot.
Oh shit,
so,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is Elliott's favorite TV sitcom of all time?
It was either probably a combination of Happy Days and Good Times. Like I was fascinated with. I was fascinated with. I was like, oh,
It's just wholesome. Those are very wholesome shows.
no, I think
Not gonna be like Martin or something.
But I think the other thing was I was fascinated with I always felt like I was kind of a nerd or I wasn't cool, right? So I was fascinated with the perception of someone being cool. Like the Fonz was cool. JJ from Good Times was cool. Like they became cool. So
Gotcha.
I would find myself kind of connected to those kind of characters. I was a big fan of Reggie Jackson as a baseball player. Muhammad Ali, like these sort of people that were like the boisterous, like the cool person. So yeah, I'd watch Happy Days culturally the same way I watch Good Times. So I think, Sanford and Son, probably all those. I was so obsessed with those shows like Jeffersons and all that. When I got the job at XXL, this is again before, like, this sounds real old. This is before like you could stream things. Like they used to have these things where you could get like, I don't know if it was Columbia House, but you could like order VHSs of like a collection of all the Odd Couples or the Jeffersons, whatever. And I would, once I started getting like FU money at XXL, I could just waste on, I would just be ordering all this crazy stuff to have every episode of Good Times on VHS.
Yeah.
That's
fine.
Wow. Before it went to the thing. Then it went to DVD, and then now, it's whatever.
That's what you spend your money on. I love that for you.
I love that.
Also, record collection. I built an insane record
yes.
collection. And thankfully, the publisher, Dennis Page, he likes soul music. So I was always like, I need this for research because the rappers sample things. So it's expensive
But you
shit.
want it
So
for your
I know I
collection.
spent $10,000, but you got to give my $10,000 back. Now, here's the receipts.
It's so crazy. I love your explanation of why you love your favorite shows, because that is literally why the perfect explanation of why I love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like just seeing the way that he was the cool guy and he's just so charming. And when he would walk into the room with his jacket, with his jokes, like, and his charm, that's really why I love the show. And I was like, not that I'm like, oh, I want to be like that, but I'm like, I love seeing a person that's like that with that confidence. So I really relate
Martin
to that.
and Gina were like the cool couple.
Yeah, they were like
just
cool.
The cool factor is a lot of what
Martin had
that type of
J's
consumption
on.
is.
Yeah.
You have any Will Smith stories?
That's
I
your
didn't.
guy.
I didn't do Will Smith as we got to know him to do these interviews and stuff. I was because you know what's funny about somebody like Will Smith. So again, even though I'm old as hell, I'm not as old as you probably think I am, because what I missed is the generation of really 80s rappers. I was still just a fan coming up as a kid. So I started writing about hip hop in 1992. So the Nas's and the J's are like my peer group of like, and then you realize back then we're around the same age and they're trying to be rap stars and I'm trying to be a journalist. But that whole early 80s, the KRS ones, I had to build rapport with them later because I didn't know. And when Will was doing the 90s, he went to the pop side. So movies. I just got to know Will. The Will first thing with Will was we actually did use Hov's influence to at least get us in the conversation of like something he would consider, and then going through his team and all this type of stuff. So, and it took like months and stuff, and then they were just like, yo, he's actually just shooting this movie. Wait, where is it again? Where he shot the movie? Shooting a movie in
was it like Hungary or something?
Yeah, Budapest. Yeah, Budapest. There you go. Look at Rez the journalist.
She know her shit, man. Budapest.
They're like he's literally in Will Smith is in Budapest for a month shooting this movie. So if you guys are crazy enough to go out to Budapest, and it was like, well, the next thing smoking, because that was the whole thing, like to go get the story. Like I felt like a lot of people were like, you know, even podcasters to this day, they may not necessarily want to run and go out and get the story. Like they used to come to their headquarters. It's the radio culture. Like you got to come up to the radio station and do the interview. But I'm like, I would do it wherever we can get it. So I think the fact that we went all the way out to Budapest to talk to him and made that effort, that started to just build a good rapport. And then again, you talk about cool. He comes in the room and just charms everybody and it turns on Will Smith. He turns on being Will Smith and it's just like, you love this guy. And then, you know, because he liked that so well, he actually did the whole thing afterward. When he liked it so well, he called, they set up him to call me just to thank me for doing the thing and how well it was received. Wow. Yeah.
That's
and
dope.
then he told Jay that he loved it. And then that led to The Crown, which was him and Martin Lawrence together.
Fire.
At Bad Boy, Bad Boys, one of the Bad Boys movies, the Apollo Theater. So I think Crown is a hidden gem. Because I feel like Crown was a live interview experience, and I don't think anyone's replicated that or made a brand like that did what we were doing back then. And that was all just like the right idea it started with just being the right idea that covered the rising stars of that generation. So it was like the Drake, Kendricks, and all that stuff. And it started with doing Kendrick at this music conference. I did Kendrick, and fans started lining up, and it was just like there was this energy in the building. Like, you know, excited to see an interview, excited to be so close to Kendrick. Some people started to know who Rap Radar was and knew who I was a little bit. And then we did the interview, and at the end of it, I had a partner, Jesse Kirschbaum, and I was like, I think I could sell tickets to watch me interview somebody. Am I crazy?
You were right.
And
that shit worked.
And I did. Yeah, I did. We did a Highline Ballroom with Tyler, and that sold out like the first day. And then Eve hit me saying, can J. Cole get the next one? I said, of course. Yeah. And then when I did Cole, Drake hit me and said, when am I getting my crown?
That's crazy. I went to the one where you interviewed the Migos, and it was like 2017.
Yeah,
like
that brought me back.
The hottest era. I remember I went to that one.
Yeah.
Are you going to bring it back? A live interview series type of thing?
It's funny you mentioned the Migos one. It's I think I've maybe done like 40 of them. But I've had so many different partners. It's been different waves, right? I had everybody from this company called Watch Loud. When MySpace tried to come back, I got a bag with them, and then then it ran out. And then I credit Quavo. Quavo, being a fan of the earlier crowns, he wanted a crown. He knew what it was. So that helped me leverage Tidal to get back and bring the brand back. So that was the turning point of doing Amigos at the time, because Bad and Bougie was huge, and because Quavo wanted to do it.
I remember it was at the height of everything.
Yeah, because Quavo wanted that look. So Quavo got the idea, so that helped me bring it to Tidal. You know, and that was the last incarnation. So hopefully, if we can find the right partners, I think it still hasn't ever been replicated. I don't know. And again, maybe you don't get Kendrick, but you can get Schoolboy Q. Maybe you don't get SZA, but you can get Doechii and build something that then can maybe possibly get those people. You know?
Go for it. I want you to speak to doing things independently versus having partners.
Yo, get out of my head, bro.
Oh shit! You said fuck out of my head, bro.
They do this all the time. And I feel so left out.
Exactly. We know each other, because I don't think the general public truly understands the difference. I mean, SaVon and I, of course. Regi,
they don't see it.
They don't understand.
Well, I've always had partners. You have to have partners. Rap Radar was founded by me and Paul Rosenberg. Paul Rosenberg is Eminem's guy, right? And I became his little small partner on the side.
Yeah.
But Rosenberg is in the business with Eminem. They are business partners to the blood end. Every single thing they do is there. So outside of that, Rosenberg reached out to me after XXL fired me and was like, he had a crazy idea to want to do a website because the blog stuff was taking off. And he was like, he compared it at the time to Huffington Post and Perez Hilton, because gossip went through, before TMZ, gossip went through Perez Hilton. And Ariana Huffington was sort of a higher level of writing where people would say things. And everybody loved my editorials. So his theory was, your voice is missing. Let's create this site. And, you know, I came in again with that. And I think, again, you know, I feel like Rap Radar in that blog era was viewed as kind of like the outlier and not fully embraced, because we felt like we brought the corporate element to it. So, but then outside of the corporate part of it, Jesse Kirschbaum is my partner at Crown. That just started because he was already a promoter and he was just trying to book me at South by Southwest to do something. And then again, that magic moment with Kendrick, and I'm like, I think we could build something outside of this. This could be something. And then Rap Radar, of course, that's my partner. So a lot of things, most of the things are partners. And again, being at Uprocks, Jared Meyer, like I said, mentioned earlier, like now in some ways he's my partner. So you always have to have that. But I think that I've never had a lot. That's the thing too. I've never had a lot of the super corporate long-term deals. I've done like kind of what you said, like those sort of short. Foot Action may sponsor this one, and this is the price. But the only longest long-term deal I did as the height was Vitamin Water. We did like a Vitamin Water deal where they sponsored like 3 or 4 crowns, but they was giving us limitations. They gave us a big bag, but they was like they wasn't gonna book, quote unquote, kind of controversial artists. So I couldn't. I remember they turned down like Wiz Khalifa, like guys that were smokers and things like that. So I want you to. So I was like, I don't like that. Like I don't.
But see, for those type of reasons, I think is wild. Let me not say wild isn't the word. It's interesting that you use we need partners, right, in this space, because I think as Alex and Regi and I, we've built this. We don't have any partners. I think it's a different model.
No, but you're partners in some sense.
We're partners, but
no financial support partners.
And
no, I get it.
The partners that you alluded to, the Vitamin Waters, the Foot Actions, those are corporations, right?
Absolutely.
So yes, we're partners in the sense that Alex and I, we had to fund this shit, get this shit out the mud. But the partners that you refer to are always like corporations that can fund it.
Well, my sweet spot was always, I like the stability of knowing what I'm getting every 2 weeks or something like that. So I want a job.
Right.
I want a job. So I would have a job at like Tidal, and then I would try to do the Rap Radar thing with other partners or go through them. And like, I wanted to have stability of a job while I do entrepreneurial ventures at the same time.
Same thing we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of been the sweet spot, because again, I haven't had that brand long-term deal. I wasn't the person that was always finessing the Nike person and who's the cool person. Because I was with XXL, it was just combative. So I was like, if I do my numbers, I don't care about none of these labels. I don't care about none of these. I'm not kissing nobody's ass. I'm not going to your party. I don't go to. Like I came in very adversarial to that. So I probably, to my detriment, I didn't build a lot of relationships I probably could have built corporately with people. So the corporate things have always come, like you said, very selective at times based off the metrics or whatever I'm trying to build and the heat I could catch. Okay. But I've always had both things going on. So even with the sweet spot here, it's like I got the Uprocks job. That's the job. I'm doing it a brand through that, but then I'm also able to do Elliott Wilson Experience, which is outside of that. So,
but the thing, when the job goes away, doesn't the platform essentially go away?
That's what happened with Tidal, with Rap Radar. And the Rap Radar had a deal after. But then when that company folded, they got shut down. But yeah, I haven't done a Crown or Cartest since Tidal.
Which is why maybe it seems like, and from our point of view as a fan, because like Regi said, we're all fans, it feels like you may be on a hamster wheel because of that.
Yes,
right?
and I think the people, I can't expect now that if we're in 2025, there may be fans of the last 5 years that don't know the caliber of content I've created.
Exactly.
They last saw me 2019 at Drake's house, and then now this guy, you and Drake don't get along, and only reason I know you is because I saw you do a great interview with him at his house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to own up to that. Like I have to figure out what these next 5 years look like and how I can find the right partners, corporate style, like you're saying, and deliver more content more consistently.
See, I don't need it. I don't know if you necessarily need partners in that way, because even when we talk about the Elliott Wilson Experience, the first thing I thought about was Patreon. Right? Essentially, because the way that it was marketed at the time was, this is a Patreon almost partnership. Like I'm working with Patreon.
To their credit, at the time and the management over there, they incentivized me outside in many ways that they could, and they liked the idea of me, and I hosted some panel for them and things like that. Like they liked the idea of my career trajectory and what that was, and were great partners to me. But I just couldn't build the audience to my liking. But then again, like I said earlier, maybe I lack patience. Like I want quicker results than maybe if I just stay to it. Instant gratification, because I'm used to like the newsstand thing of like, I'm gonna know in 2 months whether this worked or not. And if it doesn't work, then I got to pivot real fast and do this. So
I'm as a fan, I'm gonna challenge you to maybe not even rely so much on the partnerships of these corporations. I think your cachet, your catalog in media, all the things that Elliott Wilson brings without the name of a Tidal, right? Because Tidal is no longer here. Like these companies even come and go.
SaVon, but I know what you're saying.
They're here.
I still use title.
I get what you're saying, but
Thank you.
Alex still uses them.
I'm a title owner.
He does. But MySpace, right? MySpace is no longer here, and we attached the MySpace to that time period because it also puts you in like a time stamp. Because I remember Elliott when he was doing this, and MySpace was a thing, right? So I don't know. I just want to challenge you in that way to be like, you know what? I'm Elliott Wilson. This is who I am. I have these relationships. I'm gonna just do what I gotta do, and then let them come in that same way.
And that doesn't mean
focus more on self-funding and to get the results. Then they'll come.
But not even just self-funded. That doesn't mean don't take money. Like this podcast has been funded by advertisers that we've worked with.
Yep.
But again, like you said, sometimes it might be for a month, maybe it might be for 6 months, a year.
Yeah.
Really, just betting on that, you'd be surprised.
Because I think there's another component, and then I do want to get back to getting to know you a little bit better.
I love a good side tangent.
But audience too, like building a relationship with your audience, and that obviously comes with consistency. Like they know every single Thursday, we are going to be there with you. Right. Yes. And if you miss a Thursday, you can come back and always tap into whatever we said on the Needs to Know podcast.
But I think also building that audience. I think that also kind of hurt Rap Radar's growth that we never followed the traditional podcast model. We would give you these great epic culture shifting moments, but you never knew exactly when you were going to get it again. So we didn't follow the same protocol. Like, I think that also was the issue.
But also speaking to building an audience, I totally get where you're coming from, where like, journalists are trying to be personalities these days. And I get that shift, especially seeing what you have seen and what you've built as a journalist. It's kind of weird at times where it's like, do you want to be the celebrity or are you a journalist? But like thinking about your show is literally called the Elliott Wilson Experience. Do you feel like you really want to become not the personality, but like more of like, we're trying to get to know you right now. We're asking you simple questions. But I think do you think that's important to build that audience, or are you not going to do that?
I take offense if somebody says Elliott doesn't have. He's just like I'm some square. I don't have a personality. I got a fucking ridiculous laugh. I got humor. I got charm. I can always move around this world. I never had no problems. Any kind of companionship. It's like I have a personality. Like I'm not just like some nerd asking questions per se. Right. And more importantly, to answer your question, Reg, is like I want to show like that my interaction with Snoop Dogg is different than a lot of people's interaction with Snoop Dogg. Yeah. Like because of respect that's there. Whether it's, we're just talking in the corner, he taps my shoulder. Like, I want people to witness these type of moments where, again, not to diss anybody, but a lot of these people,
there you go,
they talk at the culture, but they never even had a chance to really interact with a lot of these artists. Like I have, again, someone like Cam, I've had my ups and downs with, right? So it's different if somebody who's really lived this and has these ups and downs with these artists, as even played out to this day, then people are just commenting and they haven't really interacted. They've never even met the star,
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Back to getting to know you.
Yeah, please.
Let's keep it. I know we came off the Will Smith. Who is Elliott Wilson's favorite actor or actress?
Actor?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Like when you see this actor, I need to watch this on Netflix, go to the movie theater.
I think we all have fallen more in love with Denzel. I think we always loved Denzel, but I think we, as a culture, we just keep falling more in love with Denzel. I think when I was younger, it lent more towards like the Godfather type stuff, the Al Pacinos, the Robert De Niro's, like those type of brothers. But I think that probably would be the group. I say Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Denzel.
Okay. Denzel's having a great victory lap right now.
Yeah, I feel like it's cool that like Denzel's the guy. Like I feel
he aged very well.
It's became a culture thing where he's the guy.
Another Capricorn.
His kids are flourishing. Another Capricorn.
His kids are flourishing.
His kids are flourishing.
Very important.
Yo, no bullshit.
Right? Yeah,
word.
That's good.
And LeBron's a Capricorn, so I gotta give it to you.
I'm with that.
Nepotism.
I'm with nepotism. The fuck?
What is Elliott Wilson's favorite way to decompress or vacation?
See, that's the hard part there.
We want to know these things.
Yes. I don't think I struggle with actual full decompression because I was always even the first one when the work was always so office culture where people felt like you had to just be in the office 40 hours a week or you weren't doing your job. Yeah. If you go to vacation in Miami, I would be the person, I would lay out and get my son whatever, get my drinks, but then I would get on my computer and just be working, half a day at least there. So I don't ever fully do that. I think even now, I do a lot of walking, which is rare in California. Like I live in an area where 10,000 steps turned into 10 miles, and I would do that a lot, which I'm insane because you put it on a podcast or a playlist. And so you can say I'm decompressing then, but I'm still locked in because I'm like listening to whatever. And I think I struggle with that. Like what's the toughest question is like, what is Elliott Wilson's hobby? Because I've turned things into my hobby, would be a hobby to people into
your work.
Lifestyle.
I listen to a lot of music. I listen to, I probably should read more. When I was younger, I used to read more books. But then I lack the discipline sometimes of like then I got to get offline. I don't know what's going on. Like, I think the social media thing is kind of heightened up the ability even more for me to like fully decompress.
That's crazy.
So you only feel I'm sorry, Reggie.
No, it's all good.
You only feel decompression in your sleep, huh?
I wouldn't even go that far.
He's dreaming of like the source. Like, he's like, oh shit.
Why did I say that shit?
Why did I put 50 on the cover again?
Having Cameron nightmares. Why did I say that shit?
No, but it's like,
Please gonna get me.
do you think there's room or even a desire to fully decompress in 2025? Because I personally feel like if you really reach that space sometimes where you're fully like I'm at peace, like I'm really shutting off my laptop,
well, I think
it really shifts a perspective for you when your work is not your life. Like I would say that.
I think post-pandemic, look, they can't get people to go back to work the old way, right? This office
Work
for all
from
these
home.
hours. So I do think I'm running a virtual office in a lot of ways. So I think there's a lot more freedom, right? If I decide, I want to go over here and do this all day, or work out of a park, or work out of a Soho house or something like that, I can do that.
But like fully not work out of park. But like,
He doesn't understand it.
I
like
told you, right?
fully unplugged. Like, do you have a desire to even do that or no? Because I feel like it would be very beneficial. Me as an unplugged girly, like
I can have a desire, Reg, and not be there yet. And
okay, I'm just planting that seed. You know?
Like, when's the last time you've been to a beach
and not had your phone?
I walk on the beach. Last time I've been to water. No, I literally live near a beach, so I can walk on the beach. Yeah, but I'm not. I'm not. Again, it's almost like it looks like decompression, but it's not full decompression.
I know that's why we're
the
asking
optics
you.
Look great. Elliott's amazing. He walks. He's a walker. He's running. Look at my running shoes, and Elliott's at the beach. Elliott's doing this, but there's still kind of a thing that's always kind of still going.
Is it possible to have euphoria and rest in that for you? Like,
I think anything's possible. I think it's a lack of consistency, and it's a lack of patience, and a lack of this kind of competitive fire to not consume me and wanting to know everything that's going on. You know what I mean? And like just detach myself from it.
Because I ask that because I do feel like there are people that find vacation in their work. That find getaways in their work.
Yes, and I challenge people for that. It was like when people felt like, because people did feel like you had to be at an office 40 hours a week to be productive, right? If you wasn't in the cubicle that we put you in, then what are you really doing? You're not doing your job. What are you doing on your computer? You're on Facebook? What you doing? You're not doing your job. Like, but now the world doesn't work that way. So I think it's all changed and opened it up for that. But yeah, I think there's still room for growth.
Okay. Hey, a man
I
of
want him
evolution.
to go on a vacation, guys.
A man of evolution. I'm not mad at it. And now this last question that I have, I feel like is very telling because this catalog is so great. And I'm gonna learn a lot about you through your answers. So
scared.
What is Elliott Wilson's favorite Kanye West album?
My favorite Kanye West album. That's a great question. I'm not a fantasy guy.
You're not a dark twisted fantasy guy?
Really? No, fantasy's great, but I'm not a fantasy guy.
Okay.
That is very telling. You're right, SaVon.
You see?
No, because that's what everybody says. That's the cool answer. So I don't want to give the cool answer. No, or just if it's not genuinely
your favorite.
Like, it got to be a genuine shit.
The catalog is so crazy.
I think I like Graduation just because Graduation was the ascension of him really truly being a true superstar in hip hop. And I remember being connected to it with the whole 50 Cent and him moving the date up, and we all thought 50 was going to smash him. Yeah, and it's him winning. And hip hop now looks different. You know, it doesn't have to. The hood guy doesn't have to be the leader anymore. Like hip hop could be this guy. And knowing him, he was always fighting for. I'm not just here to be the greatest producer of all time. I want to be an artist. I want to be the greatest artist. I'm only doing this producer shit to get my foot in the door, and I'm making the slaps now, and it's my records and blah, blah. So I think I feel connected with that more so. But all those first albums are great to me. I'm not a big fan of the post fantasy probably. I mean, 808,
like the Life of Pablo, like all those.
Life of Pablo is cool, has its moments, but I'm not a Yeezus person. I'm not any of the later albums,
Vultures.
But I think all the early albums are all classics.
Okay, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, I feel like if fellas, and this is a cheat code, like if you're dating a woman who's into music, that is a perfect icebreaker question.
That's a good question.
Because it's Kanye West. Like we all have an opinion. We all feel something with Kanye.
You really can get any answer. You get college dropout. You get late registration.
Yeah,
you get, I think Graduation is kind of more of a rare answer. Fantasy's there.
Isn't that the most mainstream one? No, Graduation.
Yeah, probably. It's like his ascension to me is like he's a superstar now. Like he, stadium status. Like you said, it's like it's and Jay doesn't get credit to me. Again, I don't stand for too much for Homeboy, but it connects to you because Jay-Z being president of Def Jam, I don't think gets enough credit because he's there. It helps build Kanye. Obviously, Dame gets a lot of credit also for putting Kanye on. But the Def Jam era that Jay ran is that era of bringing Kanye to superstardom with those things, to give us a Rihanna, to give us a Neo, to give us these type of things. Like he built these guys up to be there,
stars.
That level,
What are some other things you feel like he did well in that building? Right, because the famous stuff we see is that LL Cool J stuff.
Well, it fell out with the people. Yeah, it was like because he said the quote about when he called all the artists, it was like the inmates to run the asylum. Right. He thought it was going to be received with love, but then it's hard for your competitor like with him, and it's like you're going to have a say. And Jay took it seriously from the meetings I had with him about it. So yeah, I think you hear more about what didn't work. But again, with the record company dynamics, if you have, they build generational talents. Again, Kanye out of Rockefeller became a different Kanye to that level, and look at what Rihanna is. So you're talking about that level of success, and his man Neo's no slouch. So
not at all.
If you can build those 3 levels of
sexy
things,
love,
and like 20 things didn't work, that's a successful story in the record business as a label. Everything's not going to work. You need to have a handful of things that really work, and 2 that worked astronomically.
They went to the moon.
Yeah, but you only hear more about we had ones that didn't work out, and that optics of that.
For sure. Well, now that we've arrived in 2025, I also am very curious to know, how does Elliott Wilson repair his relationship with Drake? Because in 2024, you did a lot. You did a lot to damage it.
He switched coasts.
You switched coasts. It seemed like you switched sides.
West Coast Elliott. They taking your Queen's card, boy.
You got unfollowed.
In a pivotal beef. The biggest beef that we've seen.
Can we go back to that question? Say if I got that question off, though. Say it again.
You picked a side.
Can you say the question again?
In 2025, how does Elliott Wilson repair his relationship with Drake?
Some would say it's damn near impossible.
It's cooked.
Nothing's impossible.
Oh, no, this one is.
I think I would have to re-earn his respect. I think I'd have to go on a run and become. I have to go on for media a Kendrick Lamar like run where Elliott's back in the conversation is one of the best that's doing it. His content's amazing and earn his respect outside of whatever feelings he may have about how I feel about what happened to him and Kendrick. I think it's that. I have to earn. I think a lot of people look at me that way. Like they want to view me as I did a lot of great things then, and like. Even if I do cool things now, not view me as like in the top tier, get mad if I'm number 5 on a list and things like that. So I think I'd have to earn his respect with actions outside of it to then be willing to say, let's sit down and see if we could have a conversation. But it's nothing direct, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna have to see it for himself first and then be like, you know what? He's a pretty cool guy.
Because you could think that
that shit can sing. You my guy, E.
There was a time when he thought I was a cool guy, and I thought he was a cool guy.
You're still a cool guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
just
gonna
think
see
about
that.
everything.
We thought each other were cool guys.
No,
man.
you're a cool guy. Just think about everything that's transpired. All the dialogue.
But am I wrong?
No, see, I never said you were wrong. I'm just saying how a person like him might view it.
Yeah.
Of course.
All the dialogue and about even the shit I set up here. People were calling me a fucking Kendrick stan. I'm like, do you guys know me? I love music. The fuck? I'm like, what the hell is wrong with y'all?
God. I put the song Treacherous Twins on my story the other day just because I like that song. It was my friend's birthday. And someone called me out for it. They're like, what? I thought you hated Drake.
Hypocrisy.
I was like, yes.
That's
And I was like, what?
I saw you picking up Dot Girl.
Yes.
Love music.
I saw you picking up Dot Girl.
I'm fans of music, man.
I'm like, damn. Like,
it's crazy.
So why do we have to have, like J. Cole, why do we have to have the blood in our hands of this battle between these 2 men? Why must we all suffer?
We're just commentating.
I think it's because you were honest.
No, all of us, I'm saying.
For sure.
Every level, yeah.
In your case
And
specifically.
even I said even the optics of doing the show with DJ Head. Because I think when we did the first episode, not like that wasn't out. Like that last run was like right before. I think 616 had just came out, maybe.
Yeah.
Family Matters, like that Magic. It was right before it was Euphoria was out. 616 had come out the last run. So we did the first episode. I come in with the Scorpion jacket. I'm confident. I'm my man's
here
gonna
you
figure this out. He gonna blah blah.
That was him.
Yeah, I was with you.
He had a cape on.
We had him in the first round.
Drake had a Scorpion jacket. I since given that jacket to Jeremy Hecht. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I think even the optics of like, and DJ had challenged him with the push-ups thing, because this is a real record. Are you going to put it out? So I think even doing a show with Head, it just seems like I went real West Coast with it.
Right.
And it's just, I saw the optics of the optics. But, I think that I thought Drake was going to win the battle. I was disappointed that Drake didn't win the battle. And I also didn't like, more importantly, everything that's transpired since in terms of what he's done and how he's moved around. I haven't agreed with it.
I wish Drake would believe
about that.
I wish Drake would believe how much we were disappointed in his output. I don't think he really believes it. I know he's gonna die on the hill of it was a weird time. Everybody loves Kendrick. Everybody thinks Kendrick is better than me. But we saw how he went up against other people. We were like, damn, he gonna come in hot.
No, and we had never seen Kendrick do it. We knew he was the boogie.
Exactly.
We heard about it, but we never saw him rumble. We never saw him.
If anything, we were really shocked.
Yeah. How calculated he was. And I think we all have the same agreement about how we feel Drake kind of underestimated him as a one-on-one opponent. He was so caught up in the narrative of everybody else, and he tried to little bro him, and you just doing this. Like, I think he tries to view him as like he's down on the level because of the success. Like, I think somebody quoted it in one of those videos, like the guy that calls himself the company man. I think if you go to like the second verse of Is There More, he talks about like if you take all these guys and add their numbers up, they can't touch me. Like, it's very foretelling of like that's how he viewed Cole and even Kendrick, even though he had love for Cole. Like you see my stats compared to your stats? Like
numbers man. Yeah. We talked about numbers on the podcast. He was
so
numbers
Drake, the
man.
master of the numbers, you know. But it shows the arrogance because for Drake to get KO'd by his formula, which is with Meek was the hit record. You know, that's again. I know people love Euphoria, and that's the whole hype. Whole hype is to say Euphoria is the best song, Family Man is the best song. Not Like Us is the best song because it's the knockout punch. It's because Kendrick's doing something we never thought he would do. This type of record, the humor in it, everything he executes, and then finally the colonizer third verse. Which
but best song is subjective,
that
right?
record is like a great thing.
Best song is subjective a little bit,
right?
It
could be subjective, but I think the best song is the most effective song in what it was. It's just like, that's why I view it as the greatest diss song. Like, you can lyrically like those records, and maybe those are the top 3 records, but I would say put some respect on Not Like Us. Like, that is an anthem. Like, it's back to back. It's back to back on steroids. Like, it's just like, it's insane. So to lose to that, you know, and to get kind of beat by your formula that you knew what you had to do, you didn't do it.
Yeah. Does Kendrick perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl?
I believe he does. I don't know if he does the full version, but I think
they probably cut out the pedophile part.
But I have no knowledge. Of course, I have no knowledge. But if you ask me, I assume there's some sort of medley. Might be a little bit of turn TV off in it if he involves Mustard. Like sonically, it fits. Like, you know, if he does New Orleans with sort of like marching band kind of thing. Sonically, all those records kind of fit also. So, you know, but do I think he does the whole song? No, but most of those things are medleys. But I think the statement has to be that, you know, this is an important record and this is part of why I'm here. You know, it was. We had the greatest hip hop battle, and we all felt once we heard that song and Drake's rebuttal that the battle was over and this guy won. And, you know, you have to honor that.
I want to go back to something before we get too far off. That Alex said, do you think that Drake doesn't...
You drink it? You got another water?
Hit it, bro.
We have other water bottles.
Another water? My bad. Sorry,
do you really think that Drake doesn't realize how disappointed we are in him or that he lost? Like, do you think he's in denial? I think he feels it.
I definitely think he's in denial.
I thought he felt the loss and that's why he
thinks it's the numbers and everyone's switching up on him because he's had a run for so long.
Yeah, I think he thinks that the big cloud he always predicted, which is everybody would turn on me and try to get me up out of here, that somehow they did it in some sense, and I don't think he's happy about it.
Oh, but do you think he doesn't realize that he like lost?
I think he realizes that everyone feels he lost, but in his mind, you guys are wrong. The same way I think that Jay could never really receive Ether, because to him it was just like he's just talking bullshit. Like you like this, like this is takeover. Like that to me is the attitude. Like it's just like you know, if it's not real, then why is it that way? Like he said. So I don't know. I think he's going through a lot of emotions, and I hope he can get out of it and find whatever piece he has out of that, because I think I moved him to 3rd instead of 2nd in my greatest of all time. Yeah. That's how much I respect him in terms of like hip hop history. I still think no matter whatever ghostwriting allegations, you can't deny his catalog and what he contributes to the culture.
Undeniable. It's
undeniable. Like if the rain at the top, and I think you saw something Ray Daniels was saying, if his rain at the top is like, you know, he's peaked and it's never going to be as high. It's the most unprecedented high level run we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you know, he deserves his place in history with that, you know. But there's a lot of stubbornness with him. Like we all say the same thing, go away, reset, strategize, come back, and he refuses to do it. So I think he's going through a lot of emotions about it. I think he probably hasn't fully processed it. And that was my theory too. I think that Cole, Kendrick, and Drake aren't capable of having an honest conversation about what's happened in the last year.
With each other or just in
general? To anyone, SaVon and me, like an interview, I'm saying, any kind of interview format. Even if it was a softball interview format, I don't feel like they could really even answer 5 questions on some real shit. And not even like the salacious, like, Why did you say he had a daughter? Why did you really call him back? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think
the deeper meaning of like why everything happened the way it did.
This shit was so deep for all these dudes.
It
right?
was.
Think about it. Like, they're literally.
It was a lot.
It's easy to praise Kendrick because he had the best strategy. Yeah. But you got to think, part of why he wanted that moment. We all know he wanted that moment. He wanted to show the world, I'm better than Drake. I don't care how many records he sells. I don't care, blah, blah, I'm better than him.
Yeah.
That's hip hop.
I'm hip hop.
Oh, you want my other take though too? And I want to get your take on this because I heard it because I was listening to the. I finally spent my little $10 and I supported Dreamville's own.
The Inevitable podcast.
Yeah, I support the Dreamville. Yeah. I spent my $10. I sent him $10.
Wait, what is the hate? Wait, what are you hating on?
I had said that on the bigger picture because they were talking about how great everybody loves this J. Cole Eve's Inevitable series, right? And
amazing.
Obviously, I'm a huge Cole fan.
Yes.
Obviously. And good with Dreamville for a long time. I don't know where we stand now, but God bless. Because you say your opinion about things. What you want to say? So I was hesitant with my ego to spend the $10 because I feel like it would be better. Does this count as no? Because they're not my peers that way. They're artists still. It would be better if they had a Reg or me or B-Dot, a moderator, or somebody to like who's going to guide this conversation. I don't necessarily want to hear. Before I heard it, I did hear it, and I'll tell you what I thought after I heard it. But before I heard it, I don't want to hear 2.5 hours of them talking with like they don't really know how to pod or their structure. And they did end up using the guy Scott, their filmmaker guy, as sort of an anchor, and he did a great job. So, but I feel also then like again, that is actually taking away somebody's potential space in media because we're just going to do it ourselves and give it to the world, and they have the right to do that. But I get. Sometimes with that, like, frustrated. Why can't I be in the room? Like, I've done great J. Cole interviews. Why can't I help you produce this thing? And to me, have a little bit more, even if we trim 10, 15 minutes of this, a tighter conversation it was. But to the credit, it was very great content. And, he even opened up about his personal life. We know how fiercely private he is about his personal life. And I think a lot of times I've started to think about the apology. And then I'll say, like, maybe the apology was a family decision. Maybe he spoke to the wife. And she encouraged him to not engage. You know what I'm saying? Like, because how nasty things could be. And like, see Whitney got exposed out. His girls kept a low profile. Yeah. Like, is it going to get like that? I don't want you to do this. So maybe being the family man that he is and the father and the provider and the love, loving his wife and loving his kids. Maybe that's also in the mind his wife. His boys are telling him to do it. Dreamville's hyping him up. Go get him. Eve's like, get him. But so let's credit maybe this struck because he was vulnerable enough as I've ever heard him say about family towards the end of the pod series. So I think some of that was a family decision.
That's a good point.
Some mature perspective.
But to your discussion about Inevitable and like how there could have been a producer in there and all that, I feel like I don't necessarily agree because the Inevitable podcast series with Cole, the magic of it was it was so genuine. They're like, let's just tell these stories. Like, I found this old laptop. Let's just chop it up, tell these stories. I don't think it had to be trimmed down. This segment had to be tighter and marketed in a certain way. I genuinely think the magic of it was them just chopping it up as real life besties. And that's why it was received so well. He did the best post beef strategy when really distracting people and be like, no, this is actually my career. Look at how beautiful it was.
Leading to the show, which you
leading to the
attended.
show, everything. Yes, sir. But when I first saw the announcement, I didn't think of that at all. Like they needed a producer or that it should have been done with real potters. It shouldn't be structured this way.
Still struggling with my ego, Reg.
It was so I just like don't. I don't know. I just don't see it like that. And I feel like $10. I gladly gave it to. It was $1 an episode. So I support them.
You consumed it the early way. I did it the opposite because I had so much a little bit of hate there, so I didn't do it to the end. I waited till all it came together. Then I spent my $10 and I listened to every episode back to back like a maniac. Great. And I think that they proved me wrong.
They went back and put if they reference a song, they went back and put it in.
The element of E playing records and an aggressive way they fucking gave us markers to take them shits down. I tried to put a little clip up. They bodied me like because they were playing like exclusive music and stuff. So they were very forthright in their strategy how they did that.
They dotted their I's and crossed their T's on it. I did think
shout
it was a good job.
Shout out to Eve. Well executed.
It was worth $10.
Exactly. Well executed.
It's funny.
See, when you prejudged it, I feel like.
But see, at least they're not a full media platform, so I didn't break the rule last Saturday.
Oh my God!
They're not going to do a sports podcast or anything.
It was a limited series.
This might be a limited series. Does that count?
It was just very genuine. They just packaged it and put it out. That's
Cole and Eve. It is what it is.
Oh my God!
We're telling our stories. Coming up to 6. No, they did say there's season 2 though.
They left a cliffhanger.
They did season 2.
That's exciting.
And I saw people in real life who were literally talking about the show all day long. So I think it's did his job.
Oh, the wild code I said on a bigger picture. I was like, you know what? Why am I about this thing? I said, I don't like when people tell their stories without me.
That is when I was listening to your opinion
I meant
of
that
it,
shit at the time.
That's what it sounded like. You literally said, "Why wasn't I in the room for this?" It's like, Elliott, it's these two besties telling their story. Why do you have to?
Because they didn't want you in the fucking room.
I could be Scott. Why can't I be Scott?
No, the Elliott.
Damn you, Scott.
No.
Scott took my spot, yo.
No, he didn't.
Where's Scott at, yo?
Scott showed up to work that day.
Okay, that's all I have. I've been filming him for like fucking 5 years, right?
This is the theme of your rants. Like, you were like, why couldn't I do this? Like, they didn't take it from me. I feel like that was their thing that they did as a friend group. Like,
like you said,
but see, the problem is I think somebody said this to me, was like, it might have been even Rory, was like, but the problem is that you've gotten all these great things. So it's like, it is like that. So it's like, there's like a thirst or a certain like arrogance or kind of, what's the other word for it? Entitlement.
Want.
I'm used to getting the big score. Like, why can't I get it? Like, it's like a kid with the toy. It's like this. And I think it's kind of a youthful drive of me too, because
That's
I really want that. But I have
most.
to, again, measure it better and not, say those type of things.
I also think if you're
spend
looking
my $10 quicker.
Exactly.
Especially after you launched the show on Patreon, asking people to spend money on your shit. So
Full circle.
You mad
Full
at
circle.
Oh, my mouth is.
Also, if you're let's say directing your anger at Cameron and Mase for getting these guests, and you're like, I'm used to getting it, why can't I get? But it's not their fault they're getting these big guests either, you know. So like, what's the solution here? So I like that discussion though.
You know,
thank you for sharing that.
And you're being honest.
Yeah, he's being very honest.
You're selfish. You felt a little selfish in the moment. That's all right.
just to kind of put a bow on the big three, where do we go from here? In your humble opinion, like, where do we go? How does this time next year look for J. Cole, for Kendrick, for Drake, in your opinion?
Wow. Okay. Well, Kendrick's set up to win. Kendrick's the easiest answer. He's set up to win. He's got the Super Bowl. I think he's going to win some Grammys. He's going on tour with SZA. Does he do something like this? Kendrick and SZA give us an EP? Does he do another album? I kind of hated with GNX. The whole talk was like, okay, that's good, but we get another album. It's just like, yo, can we just enjoy this album? Like, we're so
phenomenal
thirsty for the next shit. Yeah. So like, I didn't want another one. I was like, don't give me one. But the teaser had a whole other song, so of course there's more music. Yeah. So I think he remains in the number one position unless he fumbles it, because he's set up for it. And SZA's ascension's been her. So God bless TD, as everybody says, like. And the amicable way that, again, okay, to go back to another theory, I just feel like when Kendrick left TDE, there was some hard feelings. My speculation, no proof, right? It wasn't the most amicable thing, right? It's tough. You're losing your main guy. I don't care how cool you say it, whatever percentages you still may make from him, it's still you're losing the biggest guy. And but then Drake playing the strategy of, you ain't got Top no more. Top was bullying you and extorting you. Now, you out here by yourself, little guy. You can't mess with me. You don't even have them backing you up no more. To me, unified them back together. And you get the record like The Heart Part 6, and unified whatever tension may have been there, or whatever feeling, united and strong as ever. So we've never seen a guy who literally is no longer with the label functioning as if he's almost still on the label. And by taking SZA on tour with him, he solidifies that.
Crazy.
And SZA's success is phenomenal. And who's the rising star we all love? Doechii. So it's like he's with the winners in the winner's circle, and I think he's in a strong position. Let's go Cole next. Cole, I think, is what Cole, to me, is suffering from right now is that, and Drake did it with which album? With Certified Lover Boy. When you keep hyping up what your album title is going to be, or what your thing is, and don't deliver, and the perception, and the fall off this, the fall off that. I think he's kind of building too much. I wouldn't even call it the fall off. I would just do a whole different thing. I wouldn't even do it.
He can't back up from that now. He's
been mentioning.
But you're saying that he builds it up and then under-delivered on Certified Lover Boy?
He never delivered. So I don't think in this era you want to have an album title or idea of what you think this person's supposed to do hanging over their creativity. I think he's made it his own monster. There's no more promotion needed. We know what the album's called.
But what if he does deliver on the fall off?
Right.
What if he does a great job?
What do you expect him to deliver on the fall off?
I think it's going to be a victory lap. I've said this before. As a big Cole fan, I'll personally be happy if he retires after the fall off. I feel like that's a good ribbon on his beautiful career.
To be his last album.
Yeah, but I really do have hope that it's going to be a beautiful, phenomenal album. He did his victory lap, his big concert, 10th anniversary concert tour, whatever, and then boom, he ends. He comes out of retirement sometimes to do a guest verse, but I think he could deliver and it'll be a very ceremonious event.
I also think he should, but why would he wait to drop it? Like he's sitting there, maybe with Dreamville, maybe I'll have music then or something. He said like,
next year is the right time.
If he builds so much momentum.
And what if he delivers?
No, I'm saying he's built some momentum now. Yeah. Why would he drop it early this year? Like drop it
because the time is not right.
Creatively, it keeps you in that mindset. As a creative, think about it, right? Like an artist figures out their album title. Now they're gonna center everything around this title. Right? Let's go FOMO. Let's go. An artist says, you know what? My album is going to be FOMO, fear of missing out, because these are the things I've experienced. Yeah. Now you get to live that on a day in and day in basis until that project is officially out.
Why did it take so long? I think you just exhausted it. That's why I didn't even like Michael later. Just the idea of it. Like there were some good songs in there, but it's like
you just
keep giving us something else. It's just like you told us what we're supposed to get.
Hey, he deleted it later, right?
Yeah.
Living through the art.
Because we know you can rap well. We know you're rapping better than you ever have. And there were arguments saying that he's rapping better than Kendrick and Drake at this point, which we always felt they were maybe rapping better than him. But I don't know. I just think you're building so much of as much as he's made all the rap moves now you're back stuck in the same vacuum of when are we giving the fall off? It's going to be my last album. It's got to be better than Kendrick's album or as good as Kendrick's album. It's got to be better than Forest Hill Drop. It's got to be my best album.
Yeah.
To me,
and that's good pressure to live up to. And what if 2025 is the year? He's like, that's when I plan to drop it. And then he drops it. Like the timing is just right.
So I would predict he puts it out around Dreamville. And I think it's a really good album, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be like the greatest album.
Thought?
Yeah.
I think it'll be like a notch below 2014 to me, Forest Hill Drive. But I'd love to be proven wrong that it's even higher than that. And I think he does bow away for a while.
I think he's gonna have a whole retirement.
Yeah.
Right?
Where he said he did, but like
you're not gonna on a year-to-year basis though, you're not gonna be worried about making music
feature here and there and a half later.
Right.
I like that. Like just go out on top
and build the mystique.
Just come back a few times and remind us that you're still that guy and then go back into hiding.
And now the Aubrey Dre Graham, that's the wild card. The boy. I don't like the Australian tour.
During the Super Bowl.
Yes, I don't like that. Again, the question I always have is, can he could obviously, he's a great music maker. He could always make great music. I always have defended him that he's part of our culture. I don't like when people draw these lines and try to act like he's not part of our culture. Maybe he's flawed and doesn't get some of the cultural nuances at the time and lands wrong, but he's still part of our culture. And I wonder, does he go back to, I'm scared that he just makes great music that isn't no longer trying to like feed us in any kind of way. Like when he did the Fall of Dogs and did the Scary Hours thing and here's your hip hop motherfuckers because you don't appreciate my shit, right? And then now you saying this guy's better than me. It's like, so I'm gonna do Drake and Kendrick. Then I'm gonna do like an international album. I'm gonna do I'm gonna do things that aren't necessarily trying to make hip hop traditional music, and maybe I'll do features with some of these guys I like in Atlanta and things like that. But I'm not doing. So I'm concerned that his musical output will start to go in a direction where it's more like just proving he's more of a pop star, more of a bigger star across the board, and not have as much hip hop elements because he feels like he's been betrayed by the system and all these people in it.
Should he continue to trust UMG? Me per se, right? I've said this on this podcast. I think he should create his own streaming service because you can't go out and sue them and multiple people and parties that we don't know, other third parties that are involved, and continue to put out music and do your business the same way. I just personally don't see it because then it's like, what is the real complaint?
He's never showed that entrepreneurial side that he wants to do it that way. It's like we spoke about earlier with me. It's like he likes to have the corporate backing thing instead of being the self, but he wants to be the biggest in your system. Right?
So how do you complain?
He's been there forever. But to your point, then maybe that's the better strategy because then you run your own race. And if you want to give us a freestyle, and do the international album, whatever the fuck, you could just fund it that way, wherever metrics they are.
The metrics, you'll know the metrics.
That's who you're feeding, and that's it. He's getting their $10, right? You love Drake, give me my $10. And it's just like, but I don't see him really doing that. And I don't think he's really gonna sue UMG. I just think he's mad, and it's a debate situation. But then I wonder, does he pivot out of that and get like I said that OVO as a label is now through a Sony company called Santa Ana with Todd Moskowitz and things. So does he get free agency and go to another, does a Columbia, does a Sony, whatever the free systems we have left, do they cut him a big bag, even if it's only 200 million or something like that? And does he really get out of that system because he feels like, well, now they're favoring Kendrick.
Right.
So does he pivot that way? I would see that probably more happening than him doing direct-to-consumer type shit.
Yeah, for sure. Off air, you made a comment about Kendrick Lamar, and I thought it was like I've never.
He was like, that was off the record. So
Imagine saying on the record.
Imagine journalist shit, right? Fuck the rules. No, but you had just made a dope comment, and you said, you look at Kendrick's career arc. And we've always looked at, like, he has the classic albums, he has the anthems, he's done it all, but he's still ascending somehow.
Yeah.
And you said, as a media personality and a journalist in your own career, that's something to kind of commend and almost strive to do.
Draw inspiration from. Absolutely.
Can you expound a little bit more on that?
Because if people say, well, Elliott Wilson, speaking to myself, like, he's done all these great things, who's to say I can't have another run where I do great things, where it's like, I think, as big as we thought Kendrick had done stuff and Pulitzer Prize winnings and multiple Grammys, and every record could be argued as a classic. You can't deny that he's bigger than he's ever been. And again, most poised for success for next year, set up to win. I think Tyler's also set up well to win in terms of next year and everything that's set up with his tour. Sort of solidifying their place in hip hop. So yeah, I just think the fact that it's mind blowing that Kendrick is bigger than he's ever been. As an artist, and seems to be making all the right moves. And even with his embracement of SZA and the embracement of Doechii and getting back on good terms with everybody at TDE, it just seems like he's making all the right moves while still building his thing, PG Lang. And he's got that South Park movie thing coming out in the summer. So yeah, he's the most positioned to win. I looked at as inspiring that you can be viewed as established and successful, but it doesn't mean it's over for you. Like you could still, it could be a great victory that awaits me. And if I put the work in and stop just talking about it and understand that I've not delivered enough good, consistent, quality content in the 2020s, and stop talking about it and be about it and do it.
That's
and
important.
then maybe things will look different.
Now we know you're West Coast Elliott.
West Coast Wilson.
I'm sorry. Let me get it right. WW. Yeah, WW. But I saw you support Cash Cobain throughout the year.
Love Cash Cobain. It's my
Shout out
favorite
to
deal.
Cash. He's gonna get it popping. Word.
I'm slizzy. I'm slizzy too.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I'm definitely slizzy. You ask. You got cosign. You got ask AP. Ask these guys.
Shit. I ain't know they sanctioned you.
His publicist.
All right, say that. Right? Say that. You
He
slizzy.
says I'm slizzy too.
You want to confirm that? Yo, Jan 6, when everybody get back to work, I need you to hit Gay P, Sam the publicist,
come on,
Cash Cobain himself, Bay Swag Charlie,
Bay Chow Lonnie.
Ask him if Elliott's team slizzy. If he's not certified, I'm certified slizzy boy.
Yo, episode title.
Yeah.
Wait, Alex. Hold on. Just text them with no context. Is Elliott certified slizzy boy?
Right after this episode, we're gonna do that. Also, Joey Badass. He kicked the year off with a bang.
Guess who asked him if he's doing interviews?
You did.
Wait,
you should.
Is he not? I feel like he would always be down to do
He's
interviews.
doing that. Yeah. And I guess what I'm going to ask is, do you believe in the resurgence of the East Coast in 2025 and years coming? Because I saw you do.
No, I don't believe in the resurgence, but I do believe in that.
I'm with him.
Yeah, but
we ain't coming back.
I don't think it's overall too. No, I don't think it's.
Can we have some
you ain't see what Cash
positivity,
Cobain did
please?
this year?
Hey man, real quick, the West Coast is on the run, and the South is still the South. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But I do think that Cash doesn't get enough credit because again, metrics and numbers, right? Like, what did Cash Cobain sell the first week? But we know what it meant.
The
movement of sexy drill and changing the sound and making it that way. Fact. So I think in some ways that's a resurgence in some sense. But you're talking about the major big doggy kind of thing.
Sure.
I mean, I love Joey, but Joey doesn't get enough credit, and he's an elite MC. But I don't feel he's always been super consistent with it. Like, he'll come in and splashes like that and shake the cage and be like, I'm here to compete. But then he acts a lot. He does a lot of other great things. His philanthropy game is up there. He's a smart dude. So I don't know if he has that dedication of that to really completely follow through to this year. That's why I love to interview him and have that type of conversation. But even if, let's say, he does that and Joey Badass becomes the clear leader in the top, there's no, above an A Boogie or anybody else that's in the thing. New York has big shoes to fill. And that's the thing. It's like, it's going to be a tough. It's going to take years, and I think there's also, you know, more producers that need to establish themselves, like a Cash Cobain with
artists,
Sonics.
producers,
because that's the part that never gets credit. That, you know, premieres and who's building the sound for us,
right?
And you know,
I saw your little tweet about J. Cole being the king of New York or some paraphrasing.
No,
but you asked,
that's them.
No, you asked.
No, I got it right here.
No, the South. We got South. The king of the South.
Someone tweeted, J. Cole isn't an NY rapper, but he became J. Cole because of New York City. He's good here forever. Elliott Wilson goes, what if light-skinned Jermaine is actually the greatest South MC of all time? Go emoji.
Blasphemy. Oh, that was a good one. Come on, Reg.
The greatest South
almost
MC
300,000.
No, we struggle with J. Cole because he's from North Carolina, as we all know.
Like, light-skinned Jermaine.
I always call it light-skinned Jermaine. Off the Biggie reference, I always call it light-skinned Jermaine. I think I call that to his face. At least I'm probably not in a long time. I haven't done it in a long time. No, Reg, I'd love to hear your opinion on this, because that is the duality in the fight, because it's not, we think of him with Queens because he moved out here to Queens and made his bones.
St. John's.
And, you know, and all his crew's from there, he's from there, the community.
Signed to Jay, went to St. John's.
Signed to Jay, went to St. John's, checked all those boxes, loves New York, is super lyrical, miracle, dope MC.
Also, he does give NY.
But he speaks, but a lot of what, if you go to the content, and you know Reg probably more than me, he talks about his Southern experience and grew up in North Carolina and brings it back to his things. And this is the house where I grew up, and here's my Fayetteville. So I think that we don't really know how to judge him. Like, he doesn't get his credit as a Southern MC. Like we all know he built a Hall of Fame career, but you can't say if is he South, is he New York? He's still more South to me because it's still where he's from, where he grew up.
Like, he's not ludicrous.
It's fucking sacrilegious to say he's better than Andre 3000, Scarface, Lil Wayne. Things like that. But let's have the conversation. Yeah. Because they're all Hall of Famers. So I thought it was a fun thing to stir up. I was kind of saying it, but not fully saying it. I don't know if I fully believe it, but
yeah, I was like, do you really believe this?
If you look at him as sort of a South MC, he deserves to be in that conversation.
Okay. Better lyricist, Andre 3000 and J. Cole.
Oh, sorry.
Better lyricist, Andre 3000 and J. Cole.
Well, at his height, Andre was better. At his height.
This guy's good.
Yeah. At his height, Andre was better.
Okay.
You know, he's media trained.
But also, Cole, but this is why Cole raps more from a traditional East Coast New York MC thing.
That's why we
Andre
don't claim
didn't
him.
do that. Andre experimented with styles and took us out and wasn't a traditional MC. They loved that. Yeah. But even Big Boy's flow was kind of more straightforward with it. Andre kind of used a little more melody at a time when people were using melody. So their approaches are very different. So that's also a factor.
And also, J. Cole said one of his biggest influences is Kanye West and like the subject matter of that. So he's just like a melting pot. But I feel like he's never fallen into is he the greatest MC from the South?
So does that hurt his legacy, right? Because you can't say he's a New York guy or the Carolina guy. It's just like,
my answer to that is I don't think it hurt his legacy at all, because instead of just being like he's the greatest Southern MC, he's the greatest New York boy, he's just one of the big three, one of the greatest of all time.
Here's the third caveat I'm thinking off the head. Never got credit as a producer. Meanwhile, most of his records are self-produced. So is he one of the greatest producers of all time?
This is true.
So he has a Hall of Fame career, but he's not one of the greatest Southern MCs. That great one of the New York MCs. He's not one of the greatest producers. So what is he? He's a unique situation.
My point is he doesn't have to be crowned as one of the greatest Southern MCs because he's just crowned as one of the best. And as long as, I know people like to take that title away from him now because of what happened, but I feel like that's a great boat to be in. Just be like, I'm one of the best, but it doesn't matter that I'm not one of the best.
Kanye thing that you said though, do you feel like he gets enough credit as a producer though? Because most of his records are still, you started using T-Minus and these guys, but there was still a lot of co-production from it. It's actually
I also remember when they was begging him to get on some co-production too. That was an era
and then he brought people in, but he still was co-producing and still like most of the. We gotta check all the credits, but I think there's still there's very few records that are solely produced by an outside thing without his input.
I agree.
He produced High Power for Kendrick Lamar, one of Kendrick's best beats. So
Section 80.
He's got slaps on Corday's last album. Things like that.
He did.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people.
He's very unique though. His career is very unique. You can't put it in a
box, and I feel like that's okay. That's a beautiful place to be in. I feel like
we all don't deny that he's great and he's a Hall of Famer. And
I'm calling him New York. When he do his little pop-up shows, it's in New York.
It's always in New York.
Hey, when he really found himself, he was in New York.
But also,
he lived in New York. I'm gonna call him New York.
One of the biggest things he's done in his career is literally sell out a 50,000 person festival, and that was in New York, North Carolina.
Damn, so that kind of got me there. All right.
So he does give back to both. I don't think he's trying to run away from his roots. But to answer the producer thing, I think hip hop has always acknowledged that J. Cole is a great producer, but it kind of is like a if you know, you know type of thing. Yeah. It's not like largely regarded. Like he's not like Dr. Dre, you know?
I don't think they realize that so many of his great records he actually produced.
Self-produced,
self-produced, or at least co-produced probably some of them too. But
yeah,
it's interesting.
What happened with Big Sean last year? And we don't got to stay on this too long.
We've been trying to figure this out.
We love this topic here on the Need to Know podcast. We love talking about this.
I don't think the timing wasn't there for the release. And again, what he also did was, well, first of all, I love Sean. He's was super cool. I thought he had said to, well, how much can I really? I can't say that part. Okay, I want to be fair because he gave me some information. He asked my opinion about. I won't say the people, but should he wait? Because these other records may come in. Because he sent me records to listen to, and I gave him my feedback. And then he said he had these other things on the horizon, and should he wait? And I advised him to wait. And I think that he spoke to his mother, and she advised him to green light go.
Got it.
And again, and then I still think the album is a good album. I think it's probably a little too long, but I think it's just there was no embracement for it. The timing wasn't there for it to be received. You know. To almost to a similar thing, you know, being cool with Wale.
Right.
That's why Wale's kind of fell back. It's just like you can't really stop this hurricane that's going on. So
I'd rather
just like let this settle down to whatever and come back top of next year and do it that way. And I think Sean should have did it that probably a little bit longer too, and like maybe drop it in the fourth quarter. But I also love the point you guys make where I don't think he's fully realized how to mobilize his fan base,
right?
Because he had the guys good music behind him, so it didn't allow him to have what. Ebe and them built like and having them same core fans,
right?
Like
that would show up for you.
That would show up for you, right?
People don't talk about how Drake and Cole has so many common fans.
Yeah,
who supported them? Those fan bases between those girls that would go. I saw them buy the CDs, you know, the Best Buy thing, buy 2 copies and want him to sign. So he was Kendrick was an outlier with that, and Big Sean was too. So I just think he is. Yeah, there's not a Big Sean hive or people do respect him. But there's not this sort of fan base that feels a prideful unity within each other.
Right.
That can be kind of galvanized that, our boy's out finally. We got to support this shit. You know, he had a lot of the good kid stuff. And then when good music stuff, and then when the good music shit got funky with business, he also slowed down his output. So that hurts him also.
Got it. Yeah. Go, Regi.
My last thing, I keep forgetting. But my whole point, he kept saying, well, then I'm just going to add those records later. So a lot of times what happens with the artists, and I think Corday's going through this too, it's like, you're going to say numbers don't matter, but then when your number comes in real low, you're angry or you're just disappointed. So you stop pushing your record. I always tell people, never quit on your record. We see what Doshi's doing, right? You got to keep working your record.
Doshi did not
Don't give up on your record.
Her first week.
People know it's optics. They'll forget that your first week was 37,000 and not 97,000. But you got to not quit your record and add those records like you said you were going to do that. Don't give up on the project, you know? But now he's pivoting to like, he got a book coming out, so I see him pivoting that way and kind of like letting the album be like, it'll maybe in time you'll appreciate it. But I think that always survives. Oh, Corday, same thing. I feel like Corday said, I don't care about numbers and all this type of shit. And then it's just like, he didn't do the numbers and now he's being funky about press. He's dodging me for an interview, but then he want to do the Breakfast Club. And then Charlamagne,
there you go.
The only highlight reel is Charlamagne saying, how you feel it sells 2 records and all that type of shit. That's all anybody clips up. So why are you doing that? You know, it's just like, work your record.
Oh, you mentioned a good brother. How are you and Charlamagne these days?
I'm not smoking. No contact. I don't think much has changed.
Because that
was a big thing. That's an overlooked battle of 2024.
Y'all was like,
that's an overlooked battle of 2024.
It absolutely is.
I ain't had no recap. Y'all a murder, man. Run that back, man.
Y'all was really like,
I thought Elliott and Charlamagne were gonna go at it.
Y'all were taking real shots at each other last year.
You just be on this podcast for 35 minutes.
I listened
straight.
And you posted every minute.
I remember that.
He did.
Elliott posted every minute. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Skype, Facebook. That nigga was everywhere for 10 clips. I couldn't escape Charlamagne talking shit about Elliott. I'm like,
That's
damn.
what I like about Elliott.
I like that too.
If people diss him, you post that shit.
He on front street with it. That's why I fuck with you. All jokes aside. A lot of cats in this game, they try to, I don't see that. No, you stand on front street like, what's up? What we doing? I like that. I'm into that. Real talk.
Yeah, so because he ate through me for 35 minutes. You know what's funny? Here's a funny story. So, was that the day it came out? I think it was the day it came out. Nala had a thing with Rhapsody, with Rhapsody performing her thing. And he was in the house, right? He was there too. And like I walked in and some people were like, oh shit, like, and I didn't go to wherever back area he was in. I just watched the show and then I left. So then I leave the thing and I just go to some random, like on the same strip where we were in Brooklyn. I go to this random bar, sit down and I'm starving, get a drink, sitting by the bar. these two sisters, these two black women are sitting to the left of me, and they're kind of staring at me a little bit, and I staring at me, so blah, blah. So then finally one taps me on my shoulder. I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like, I just wouldn't want to say anything, but I know you and Charlamagne are really going at it right now. I saw you both at the thing. You know, I didn't want to bother you. It was so funny. I was like, yo,
Nah, podcasters, we got to stand on business in 2025. The way y'all was talking about each other to each other, like y'all had to see each other, man. Y'all should, and hopefully, let me not say y'all squash it because that's y'all business. Yeah. But I do appreciate how y'all both handle that. Like, talk shit to each other if you feel.
Well, he had dissed me without saying why he felt that way. So I challenged him to say, "Why do you feel that way?" Like, he's just kind of being dismissive about it, but it's just like, you know.
Yeah, that was one of the highlights for me last year.
Two of my guys.
He is a target audience for that.
Yes. I'm always going to tune into the bullshit that you and Charlamagne and all of you guys give to me. Like, please, I want to consume that.
And then it was kind of hard that I turned down doing the Breakfast Club and then turned down doing
Why'd you do that? Why'd you turn it down?
You did both, right?
No, because y'all was talking. Y'all was talking to each other in that way. Y'all both
because it wasn't fake. It wasn't fake to me. I really was not feeling it. So I don't want to be fake. It's not content over everything.
I respect that too.
Yeah, it's a balance and standing on for me because he's the bigger entity. So it'd be more to help me. Mm-hmm. But I was not here to be helped. Yeah, I wasn't feeling helpful.
Yeah, because he did reveal that, like, oh, I invited him to talk or whatever the case may be. Or
Nala hit me. Nala's like the person that's been.
Shout out to Nala.
We love her. Invite me to the Breakfast Club. I politely declined. Oh, you know, not that was the other girl, not Nyla. Taylor.
Okay, shout out to Taylor.
Taylor invited me to the Breakfast Club. I politely declined. And then they invited me to Flagrant. And I'm like, oh, shit, okay, Schultz. That might be a way to do it without blah, blah. And then she's like, okay. I said, okay, I'll do Schultz if it works out. But what do you guys tape? And then she came back and said, well, Charlamagne's going to be in this episode, though. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, I'm not doing it.
Nah, man. Next time you pop shit, you got to show up.
Yeah.
Because we are communicators. In my opinion, like, we communicate.
I just think
that's what y'all
me
do.
and Charlamagne, there's always been kind of an unspoken tension between us. So
you got a lot of tension with a lot of niggas.
I'm trying. Did I begin from a place of love?
I will say,
am I shifting? Did I lose my course today?
Everything you've said about your actions, I do feel like it was very self-aware, very like, you made good points in your apologies today. Like, I really feel like you mean that.
Yeah,
so
let's see how long you keep it up.
I'm gonna manifest you and Charlamagne this year, somehow, some way.
To genuinely hash
me personally, again, target
audience. Because that's what SaVon wants. For your birthday, you want that to happen?
That's coming soon, 10 days. You got a few days now. That would be dope. Because I feel like even Charlamagne, he's past the situation, right? Maybe. You never know.
We don't know.
You never know. Yeah, you never know.
This was fucking great. This was awesome, Elliott. Thank you for pulling up, man.
Thank you, brother. For sure.
Amazing performance.
Absolutely.
Will you be back?
I didn't cause any more. Yeah, because I want to be a free-time guest.
Oh, right? Yeah. 3-timer.
For sure. And it is very important, too. I know we did speak about it. The Elliott Wilson Experience.
Yeah, starting Tuesday. Jan 7? We're back to work, 7. Man. You guys already at work. Some people not going back to work till Monday, January 6th.
Not us.
This comes out Tuesday, January 7th. The first one's with Snoop Dogg. And then I get, like I said, the next, then I think I'm doing Absol, Wale, and then Leon Thomas.
Fire.
And I think they're all really good interviews and more than just interviews, conversations.
Right.
A little preview. So yeah, Snoop, I'm at the Compound and, talk about the album with him and Dre and Who Kids there too. So there's funny interaction with that.
Who Kids?
Absol was just a dope, deep conversation. Feel like he made a really strong album this year.
He doesn't do many of these at all.
Wale hadn't done a lot of interviews in a long time.
Can't wait for that one.
The day with Wale was it was a day that he almost canceled because it was a day we found out that the great Clark Kent had passed.
Oh,
we know how close they were.
Very
so
close,
we have a very beautiful moment talking about Clark and all that type of stuff. And Leon, he's an amazing personality besides making great music. And Rory helped me connect with him. He just at the end, he was like, yo, he grew up watching my interviews and was just excited to have that. So that's what I'm just trying to show. Like, it's a different experience with me. And I have to remind a whole new generation that I have great conversations with these artists, and it's built on respect. It's built on their music. It's built on content.
I love that.
And there's a place for that.
Is it like a journalistic?
I think it's entertaining still.
Is it like a journalistic vlog of sorts?
Yeah, where can you find it?
Like video, you get to see the video, and you're still carrying the facts.
Yeah, there's cultural things going on. There's interactions, and it's just it's also think it's an insightful conversation. I think that I'm asking. People say like for Snoop, people say like Snoop, you're the most popular rapper. Like, why do you have all these business ventures? Like, what fuels that? Like, who are you as a person? Like, what? And he talks about his mother and like how things impacted who he is and how he carries himself and why is he such a beloved figure? Like, you know, more than just the first level of the question. Like, you know, it's great journalists know like this, the real surface. Like, what? Like Snoop Dogg is Snoop Dogg, right? Yeah. Like everyone loves Snoop Dogg.
Just dropped an album.
So how did we get there?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how did we get there? And yeah, me asking. I never met Dr. Dre.
Wow.
So I'm asking him all these million questions about Dr. Dre because I'm fascinated, like if any fan would be about Dr. Dre and his process and. It seems like he's so dedicated back with Snoop, and how does that even get to be where it is? And I know he's going to do other interviews, but it's more like it's fine. Like I don't. Again, I'm not issuing on anybody else's interviews anymore, but I just think that there's literally a whole new audience that doesn't really know the consistency or the quality of the interviews I've done. They may have known a couple of big major ones, but I just want to get on a real consistent cadence and show that there's there. And look, I still am on raising the flag that there's still a need for more balance. And I still want to push artists to do more interviews and find their trusted sources to tell their stories. Your album doesn't tell the whole story. Don't give up on your album if it doesn't do the great first week. And tell your story and expand people, get people to care about what you do. Like you shouldn't have worked that hard in the album and then you're going to give up on it when you don't get this fucking quick response. And I tell myself that too, right? So it's all full circle. But
where would this be available?
Okay, this is on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, and also audio's on all platforms. So
perfect.
Yeah, we got a nice little Shout Rock Nation got a nice little iHeart campaign. Nice. Where we're gonna do the ads all across their platforms that are parallel to that. So Leon Thomas, you know, the higher art R&B side of things. And so we got a little backing that way, and Rock Nation's been great partners on it. And yeah, I'm excited.
Sure. Well, thank you for including us in your press run.
Yeah,
that's all you were worried about.
We appreciate that.
Closing. It's only 2.
You could have went anywhere.
And also make sure y'all tap in. I know we as podcasters always forget to show love to the RSS feed, but make sure y'all go tap in on the Elliott Wilson Experience's RSS feed for these episodes. Turn your notifications on for him, for the Need to Know podcast, because that feed is important, just like YouTube is important. The audio listeners, I'm an audio listener, consumer when it comes to podcasts. So I do want to make sure we highlight that as well. Like you said, it's audio on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's everywhere you can find Elliott Wilson. This was amazing, bro. Thank you for bringing in the year with us again.
Thank you.
You could have been talking to everybody. You in New York, you back.
Saying, we might go link with the Slizzy.
So too.
I can't wait to rewatch that.
Certified Slizzy boy.
Also, I just want to slide something before we get out of here. I like what you. Oh my goodness, I like what you said in your Warrior Mall appearance, where you were like kind of explaining like the core of your rants and your outbursts are very like our protective of our culture. I just want to give these great interviews. Like that's where it's really coming from. So I respect that.
Because I think the audience wants that. We all say the same thing.
Exactly.
If we're all going to be on YouTube consuming all this stuff, you're going to watch these iconic interviews and they're going to tell the story. It's a legacy there. Like even on one of the Heart records, Kendrick was saying about like, acknowledging how people watch Nipsey Hussle's interviews, right? Yeah. That's all we have. He's no longer here. So it's like, you want to contribute to that part of it, right? Like, so I think it's important. Like again, you should be proud of the bodies of work that you put out. It's like, you have to have a companion thing that, to me, you should, that has it that way. And you have your choice of finding your trusted source. And even if you want to talk to yourselves and talk to your trusted man, and run the camera, like that's fine, I just like what you said when your quote was like, "When did it become cool to not do interviews?" Yes, that's what I don't like. When you said that, because, and we get it, they're like, we just have to accept that the top tier people don't do it anymore, And then they're mad because there's a counterculture now that's fueled of us commenting about them, but we don't get any information back from them other than the headlines we see. Right. So there's an imbalance, and I just think that we got to get to a better place, and I think eventually we will. But I have to be active and be part of the change I want to see. And lead other journalists instead of just turning my nose and pointing my finger and saying, this ain't right, this ain't right, this ain't right.
Ooh, that 2025 Elliott, boy.
See? He's here. You hear him? He's here.
He there, boy.
Yeah, I mean, we get why, they're kind of annoyed of interviews and the clip culture, but you know what? Go to Elliott Wilson if you want a very good integral interview. So
absolutely.
Here we are.
Your real fans, your real fans can cut through the clip culture shit. I get all that. Like the clip culture shit is nasty. But you're still going to serve your real fans. And again, as we talked about with Sean, it's hard to really find with so much content out there to galvanize your audience around you and what you're doing. Again, that's why we like what we see Doshi's doing, because we see it in real time and artists doing that. All this creativity and different things she's doing. And it's not defined by whatever her sales numbers are. And interviews, they'll also will find a clip that inspires them. As we see that. We have that other side. The nasty side is the clip of that's going to get all these clicks. And then we have all day, we're going to see Kobe, we're going to see all these inspirational moments and pull quotes like that. So your fans will clip those moments too. And maybe that voice won't be as loud as the ones that first get the nasty headlines, but if there's quality there with you with a trusted person, you're going to get through that cycle and get your message out there to the right people. You know?
Well, I need you to get a message to Cameron. All right? Because I just need you to get a message to Cameron because, again, I remember there was a clip that was circulating where he was shouting out a ton of people who's in the space who kind of helped him and assisted him. He named like Gilbert Arenas. He named Gillian Wallow, Stephen A. Smith. Like he named a lot of people in our space that he was like, yo, when I wanted to get into it, these are the guys who kind of pushed me in that direction or gave me the guidance that I needed when I didn't really know. Because this is a new game for everybody, especially him at that time. But even somebody like you and him, and I'm sure you saw it on Instagram, he got the jokes and all of this shit. But this is also an opportunity if, he's ever willing, and if you're ever willing, for us to show, we can make things right. Right? Like, I got it wrong. And you said it on this podcast. And I'm sure he has the respect for you as a journalist and what it is that you built, right? It's almost like what you said about him. You can't deny his career as an artist.
And they ran a clip on the other side, and they thought it was a response to me, but it was a clip they already had where they were talking about, look, like, hate it or love it, we're the new source, we're the new leaders. So, Cam has a competitive fire.
For sure.
So should he feel like he's Stephen A. Smith? He should. He's from hip hop. He has that fire. So, but again, to your point, what he says, if he does do all his due diligence with the shit, researching things, putting his own money up, work ethic, putting the time in, professionalism, got Mase focus, showing like what would we think Mase is gonna have a job to go to a set every day and do
in
that, like you said, in a
personality.
Suit. You know what I'm saying? And Mase would give us shit and go away. You know what Mase do back.
Now we get to see him on a consistent level. He,
and them to repair their relationship, right? So all those things are great things. But I have to stop measuring myself. Like you guys said, even with your that's why it's your strategy. You look at your own data and you get motivated by that.
Right.
And that's how you look at what your situation is. So it's really about you running your own race, whether it's cliche. I've struggled with that, with the downtime too, like to respect the journey. I get so excited to want to get to the win and the victory that sometimes you just have to appreciate the journey. And it may take me longer this run.
Right.
To get Elliott Wilson Experience or the bigger picture where I want it to be. But I have to stay dedicated to it.
And you want to know what's funny real quick? I know you got to go. We'll wrap this up. But going back to partnerships, I know we talk about financial partnerships, but the relationship that Alex and I have, because I'm of that mindset too. Alex sat me down a few years ago. This is before any of this shit. And he said, comparison is the thief of joy. And you see it and you hear it all the time. But when it comes from somebody who cares about you, when it comes from somebody who exudes that, it just hits a little bit different. And that's the type of partnership that because you're doing all these things with different partners, maybe you don't nobody tells you that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there's nobody.
But you know what happens now? The audience tells you that immediately and then say you're a hater. And they mean that in a very genuine, disappointed way.
People who might not necessarily love
it's not even just playing. And it may somebody that respected you and knows a little about what you did and whatever. So I don't want to lose that person either. So think about it that way. It's like, it's not even it's an actual severe thing to be like that, to say somebody's a hater. It's just like, so again, we have the most wide palette of successful entities on whatever level of success, right? And again, we're not really competing with each other directly anymore.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Like seeing somebody else win, even if they're doing something as similar to you, like let's say they get like a huge deal. Seeing that, like me personally, I feel like that shouldn't make you angry. Like I get that people are competitive, but
I celebrate people on social with their achievements too. So it's a duality with me. It's kind of just reaped in this competitiveness, but it's not the right approach.
Yeah, man. Can't wait to see what you are. I can't wait to see what your 2025 does. I hope the apology.
More trips to New York. I need to be a little bit more bi-coastal. I promise you guys that.
Don't abandon us.
I missed the pace of. I think because I only think I went to New York once or twice last year. So that's crazy.
That wasn't enough.
The West Coast had you in the
chokehold. I had to pull up on you real quick with LL Cool J. He got me out.
You what? That was one of the 2 times when you were in New York.
I was there for a day. I was just like, LL thought I was in New York. That's why they booked me. But I was like, I interview LL Cool J.
You killed that too, man. I was like, yo, E. I was there.
That was like a fake crown. That was a new crown.
Yeah, it was like a fake. No, because he was interviewing LL Cool J.
A fake crown.
People were listening to the album. He was asking LL great questions.
My homegirl Joy said, How many times did he grab his crotch?
Yo,
and he don't even realize how much he does it.
It's that.
And it's like, yo, dog, I'm right here.
Right
next to you, dog.
Hey, what's good, boy?
Like,
hey, what up? What's good, Playboy?
I mean, you know, because you're dealing with him.
Yeah.
But LL, especially if the music's playing, he's feeling himself. He had these big ass kind of like tan pants kind of thing.
You know that?
He just always is grabbing his shit. It's like, yo, dog.
Yeah,
like,
you gonna say anything about it?
No. Everybody gonna say shit. Ain't no man
go ahead,
child gonna say anything about it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Shout out to January 14th, man. We got some characters. But yeah, thank you, Elliott. We appreciate it. We can't wait to see what your 2025 looks like. It's the Need to Know podcast. What you need to know, when you need to know, on the Need to Know podcast. We will be back again next week. Peace out, y'all.